Mhm.
All right, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast. Technically, Fish and Grits live. Um, Today is June 9th, 2021. Let me go ahead and say this now. Thanks for tuning in, but also like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
We're gonna say that every 20 minutes.
Now, now a word from our sponsor. Like and subscribe. Um, yeah, so welcome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We are broadcasting today on Wednesday because the Hawks played yesterday, and we all wanted to watch that game. We couldn't give y'all a good broadcast if we were all looking at our screens to the right, going, "What's going on? What's going on?" As always, I'm Ryan, joined by my two co-hosts, Marco. How are you doing today, sir? He's
I'm good
frozen.
and unprepared.
Good and unprepared.
Huh?
Well, it's funny that
Yeah.
as soon as I asked you how you were doing, you froze.
Oh yeah.
Marco or Micah, how are you doing today? You licking your wounds from yesterday, last night?
I'll tell you what, man, that was a dang old hard thing to deal with, right?
Wow.
All right, so today is episode 56. Hey, don't get on Boomhauer. No one can ever knock Boomhauer. I don't care what you say. Today's episode 56. We're going to get into a little bit of Julio Jones trades, Falcons mini camp, how they've been looking out there. Some of what we can do with the money that we freed up. If you don't know how much that is or exactly what we can do, stay tuned. We'll get into that in a little bit. Then we will also touch on a little Hawks basketball because, like I said before, we did play yesterday. Didn't turn out the way we wanted it to be, but there's a lot of positives, a lot of things that we can do for this. Marco will get into that there in a little bit. And at the end, as always, we will end with baseball. We will talk a little Braves and their hunt for something that they haven't done yet this season. So stay tuned for all that. But let's get into a little football, gentlemen. Y'all ready for that?
Let's do this.
All ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
Let's get into the
Will
our
we
real
get
theme music.
will we get copyright strikes?
That one I don't know. Was that close enough? Or is that
I
not
know,
our
right
own
there.
rendition?
Watch them like coming.
They're like, "Ah, ah,
We heard our melody.
ah."
We heard our melody there.
But Marco,
But
why don't you hit mine?
32.
Let's get into the grits blitz, gentlemen. Let's talk about the biggest news out of Atlanta in quite some time as far as sports goes. That's sad that it comes with this attached to it. And it's not that we won a Super Bowl or we won a World Series, but it's that we traded away one of the best players in all of our franchise's history as we let dear number 11 go, Julio Jones. We traded him to the Titans. We've been talking about it for quite some time. We were trying to figure out what was going to, what the package was going to be, how we were going to work this out, what we were going to get in return, and, how bad was it actually going to hurt. So we got the news 2 days ago.
Oh my God, I forgot to put the video together.
Yeah, I know you did. I had a tribute that I wanted to play here, but Marco just kind of took a vacation, but that's all right. We'll play it all in our minds. Julio Jones was traded to the Tennessee Titans, so he takes a trip about
4 hours.
4 hours north of here, and he'll be playing for the Titans. It's funny enough because we just got our head coach from the Titans, but he'll be joining A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry in that offense that could be very interesting. Let's get into the details of the trade. So the Falcons traded Julio Jones and a 2023 sixth-round pick to the Titans for a 2022 second-round pick, a 2023 fourth-round pick, and then the Titans are going to take on a large burden of that financial responsibility for Julio Jones's contract. So I think that was the biggest piece of the deal here. But it allowed us to avoid that $23 million of dead cap hit next season, which was huge. A lot of the teams, once they heard that was going to be the deal with Julio, they kind of backed out. So the Titans are one of the few teams that could afford to do that. And it is what it is. It sucks that it's so close. But anyway, that frees up $14 million of cap space for the the Atlanta Falcons, and I'll get y'all's opinion on this in a little bit, but I'm just going to go over the raw detail. Frees up $14 million of cap for the Falcons. Now, we finally get to sign our draft class, which is going to be about $6 million of that $14 million, so we'll be left with about $8 million. And this is, gives us a little flexibility. So, guys, when we all saw the news, when we saw it break on the pages, when we saw it, pop up at the top of our screen, when Julio was traded, how did you feel? Like, what was your gut reaction? And, Mike, I'm going to save you for last. Marco, what did you think when you first saw that?
I feel like it's like the kind of thing, not to compare to someone dying, but it's like when they're already really sick and it's just a matter of time. He was already gone to me. So me actually hearing where he was going to go didn't really, boost my feelings at all, because it was already there. The grief period was already over for me. So it was really just, okay, now I know where he's at. And then I guess sort of contextualizing what that's going to look like. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think really emotional. The emotional aspect was gone. You're muted.
I am muted. I was taking a drink. I didn't want y'all to hear my ice. But that is a good analogy. You're to someone dying, you're like, they're going to pass. It's just a matter of fact when. So yeah, you do kind of prepare yourself. Micah, did you have such a cold approach to it, or was this still an emotional journey for you?
I mean, I'd come to peace with it after the whole Shannon Sharp thing. I mean, we honestly had talked about it last season anyway, so there was a good chance we knew we were going to have to trade him just financially because of the cap. Now, I mean, I would have loved to avoid it, but I mean, it was kind of an inevitable thing coming. So when it happened, it was just like I'd already known. Yeah, it was. The only thing I'm just glad about is he didn't somehow find a way to go to like New Orleans or Tampa,
Seattle, especially.
Yeah,
not even much Seattle, because we don't play them this season. But
they're going to be a playoff opponent.
Yeah, in the NFC.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd much rather like watch him like end up, if he had ended up in like Tampa or New Orleans and we had to play him twice a year. And it's like AJ, you got to cover Julio twice a year. Like, bruh.
I mean, he already covered him almost every day in practice. But yeah. No one wants to do that live. No one wants those stats to actually count.
Right.
Micah, you had mentioned something that I forgot to bring up earlier. So we learned after the trade that interview with Shannon Sharp, he did not know he was live. He actually came out and said, and he was like, nope, I had no idea. So that's
Shannon's an unprofessional. He's so unprofessional.
He's a media member, just the same way Randy McMichael is a media member.
Right. Can you even imagine that? Someone like calling you and asking you such a leading question on air. Like, I would never talk to that dude again. It's like he has no like.
That's trust. That trust is out the window.
Roy, I'm telling you. But like that's like the equivalent for like normal people. Like someone standing in the room with your boss and they're like, "Hey man, what do you think about work?"
Right.
And you're like, "Oh man, fuck that place. Like I don't like that."
What was that thing you told me the other day about working here? Bro, just run that back real quick.
Nah, imagine like a dude standing next to your girlfriend. It was like, man, what did she do to piss you off so much? Man, this bitch.
So who's that girl you said you were with last night?
Hey, where were you last night, man?
Right, like D-Lo and Nick Wright and Nick Young, Swaggy P.
Bruh, the Lakers had to trade D-Lo because ain't nobody else on that team trusting hanging out with him after that whole situation.
Not even in the slightest. Anybody sees Shannon Sharp call now, they're gonna be like,
right.
Bruh, I just imagine that Lakers team, everybody's out, they hanging out, and it's like, wait, let's make sure D'Lo ain't nowhere around. Might get
All phone, right? We're collecting all phones. We're collecting all phones.
Marco, actually turn it down a little bit more. You're clipping just a tiny bit. So, I still held up that tiny bit of hope because especially since we didn't trade him immediately, like the fact that we knew we were going to trade him, there was like a 0.00001% chance in my head. I was like, all right, maybe the Falcons can rework this out. They can mend fences, and then maybe we will, not trade, but restructure Grady Jarrett. But once I started looking into the cap of that, if we did restructure Grady Jarrett, all that does is just further the problem. It just kicks the can further down the road, which is essentially what Thomas Dimitroff was doing this whole time. He's like, you know what? Our objective is to win. Just push the financial payday to the right. Push it to the right. Push it to the right.
Right. Yeah, he knew. I mean, in a sense, he knew what he was doing. He knew that he wouldn't have to solve this.
If you didn't win. I mean, that's why that last season when everyone was like, DQ and Dimitroff are probably gone, and they got that one more year, he was like, extend across the board to keep those guys. So
there's two things I want to say real quick before we get off this topic. First of all, use that money, pay my man Frank Darby first and foremost. Like even before Kyle Pitts, pay Frank Darby. Frank Darby deserves to be paid.
That smile's worth $1 million alone.
So the second thing is, we had our debate in the group chat.
Hold on, let's name it appropriately because you thought it was a debate. The Troll Fest.
We were trolling.
Yeah, well, I was at work, but I mean, but the thing was, it went into Falcons forum, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a guy I kind of got into it with, where he was like, look at the analytics. Matt Ryan is the most accurate, throws the most accurate deep ball out of everybody according to analytics. And I'm like, but analytics aren't 100% accurate. There's a lot of things that the analytics don't account for. Like, whether you catch the ball in stride or if you have to slow down to catch the ball, it's just, is it catchable? That's all they really account for. So, and he's like, well, quarterbacks underthrow receivers all the time. What'd you call a back shoulder throw? I'm like, back shoulder throws are intentionally placed there.
Right.
It's not
That's not an underthrown ball.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is underthrowing those passes when he does that.
Right.
But it was like, and ultimately I was like, bruh, me saying that Matt Ryan doesn't have a strong arm doesn't mean I'm saying he's trash. It just means compared to the other starting quarterbacks in the NFL, he has a average to below average arm strength. And I said, compare his arm to Aaron Rodgers, who's 2 years older than him.
You don't even have to give Aaron Rodgers. Be like Josh Allen or
the strongest arm in the NFL.
Right.
The reason I
Baker
use
Mayfield.
The reason I use Aaron Rodgers is because Aaron Rodgers is 2 years older than him. Right. So there's this idea that Matt's gonna have this arm. He's gonna be able to play at a high level until he's 40, like 42, like Brady and Breeze. And it's like, no, he's more like Phillip Rivers, where he was an average arm quarterback who is getting older, and you're starting to see a little bit of that zip start to leave, but he's still smart enough to get the job done. So, that's more realistic, where he hits like 36, 37, and you start to see him start to hit the wall as far as the arm talent goes. But
I will say the zip is a little gone, but I think most of the picks that Matt Ryan throws are bad reads, not because he doesn't have enough zip on it.
Well, no, like the Chargers, some of those picks in the Chargers game, just because he couldn't get the zip on it. Like the Ridley,
one over the middle.
There was one over the middle. It was when Ridley ran that out, and he couldn't get enough zip on it, and the corner was, and so like I said, it's just you're starting to see the arm strength is slightly regressing. And I don't hear him doing stuff like he's not getting with Alex Guerrero and like retooling his body and changing his
Right. Well,
diet and
he was
stuff
always good
like
at
that.
absorbing contact. I think Alex Guerrero's best for like your flexibility, but I mean, you look at someone like
That can
Drew
help.
Brees though. Drew Brees never really had a particularly strong arm, but it was the team and the system that made him so durable for all those years. I mean,
Well,
not durable in terms of just the fact that he was able to play so long because he was schemed to success.
well, I mean, it wasn't even just that. Drew Brees threw a beautiful deep ball, and like he could hit his receivers in stride. The thing with Drew Brees also like everywhere you heard, Drew Brees was like a workout maniac. He worked his body out insanely to keep himself in shape. But now eventually, I mean, it did catch up with him, and you started to see no matter how hard he worked out, he just like his body started to fail him towards the end. But like I said, it is what it is. They quarterbacks hit the wall at different ages, and I don't think there's this assumption that Matt's gonna play deep into his 40s like Brady, but it's like no, you can't think of it. You can't necessarily compare him to Brady. I'm like I see more
But I
for the
think we
Brady.
went on this long tangent and we didn't really get anywhere with it. I think we should have focused it on how do you think Julio is gonna fare with the Ryan. I'm sure Ryan, that was his next question.
That was going to be my question, was how effective do you think, like, are you going to see Julio have this sudden explosion? Because, Ryan Tannehill is not the strongest arm quarterback, but he certainly has a stronger arm than Matt Ryan. And he has something that Matt Ryan also doesn't have, and that's mobility, to get outside the pocket and extend plays. Not to mention he has the best, running back in the game right now in Derrick Henry. So he has a running game with him. He has another receiver with him, but then he has that ability to throw it deep and extend plays. So do you think we're going to see Julio turn it back looks like he turns back the clock here? Or do you think this is going to be more just more of the same? What's y'all's outlook on this, Micah?
I won't say that he'll turn back the clock, but you'll start to see, but you will see like glimpses of old Julio, of younger Julio, and I mean just because there are differences in I don't think I don't think Tannehill will be quite as cautious on the throwing the deep ball as Matt. Matt often would wait to see Julio get open before he threw it versus Tannehill, I think more so will trust the Julio's like just route running and that he's going to run by people and he's going to be more willing to just air it out. Plus, I mean, Derrick Henry in the backfield, I don't care who the safety is. If you run play action and the fake Derrick Henry, you're going to at least take one or two steps up because it's like, bro, I need to be ready to bring it if I had to tackle this man. So, I mean, they have a running game that we don't have. So the play action fake is going to be a whole lot more effective on sucking up safeties than it was here in Atlanta. So,
yeah. Mark, I'm gonna save you for last here.
Okay.
I think you're right, Mike. I mean, no, I think you're gonna see Julio running under a lot more passes. I don't know so much if you're gonna see. I'm gonna be interested to see in how many receptions Julio has because Matt is extremely accurate. Like he's short to intermediate, he's one of the most accurate passers in the NFL. Over the middle, he has his problems, but that relates back to arm strength. I'm gonna be interested in seeing how many actual catches Julio has. If he's gonna get near that, if he exceeds the 100 catches this year, or if some of Tannehill's weaknesses, which is accuracy and timing, and the fact that there's no more Arthur Smith there to save Tannehill, to scheme him into all these things, if Julio actually gets that. So I would not be shocked to see Julio be in the high 70s as far as catches goes. It would really surprise me to see him in those 90s to 100s, unless Tannehill was the reason that Arthur Smith looked good, if that makes sense. If it wasn't so much Arthur Smith scheming Tannehill open as it was Tannehill being very good and making Arthur Smith look good because he was able to do that. So I would say we'll definitely see an increase in touchdowns because they're Derrick Henry is going to help with that more so than anything. Where Julio's just going to run past the corner, and there's going to be a safety taking a half to one misstep, and Julio's gone. But I would say high 70s to low 80s would be my expectations for Julio, even though it's still a very good season. Marco, what are you expecting from this?
I think that in the media there might be this perception that he turned back the clock after this season just because his stats in terms of touchdowns will probably be more than he's had ever here. And that's not, and I think the media they'll spin it like that, but that's not because of Matt Ryan. That's because we've never had a running game. For a long time at least. We haven't never had anybody because their offense is gonna, we've seen Tannehill in other systems and he's a above average quarterback. But there's nothing spectacular about Tannehill. But at the same time, it's like how our defense is going to, adjust to that kind of when you have a running back like that where you have to load the box, and then you have a receiver that to this day has not played a game without bracket coverage. Like, how do you handle that? How do you, so he's going to be open a lot. It's just, we're going to like you said, it's really about Tannehill. We're going to see what Tannehill's made of this season. And if he has anything less than an MVP season this year, then we're probably going to be like, okay, yeah, this dude's not that good.
Well,
MVP season.
I wouldn't say MVP, but
how not? He's going to have a wide open field to throw to.
It's still Derrick Henry first, though. That's Derrick Henry's offense.
If he's putting up Jameis numbers and interceptions too, then it'd be like, oh no, this dude's trash. but if he's not putting up numbers that might put him in the conversation, I understand that. I'll say that if he's not putting up numbers then that put him in the conversation for MVP, then I think it's like, oh bro, what are you doing? Who was it? Aaron Brooks for when he went to the Raiders, and he had Jerry Rice, Jerry Porter, and Randy Moss on the same receiver core, and they were trash. Like, bro, how do you have these receivers and you can't get them the ball? What are you doing?
Like, Jerry Porter was very good, but then if you just pair that with two of the top three receivers of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time. On the same team.
And you can't get them the ball.
At the same time.
Like, bro, I'm not even a quarterback, and I can at least get the ball to him.
Bro.
We'll float it up there.
Even at that time, Jerry Rice was still, because we were looking at that not too long ago. Jerry Rice was still like a 1,000-yard receiver then. At 42. It's like, because in my head, like, my memory of Jerry Rice was like he had this steep drop off. But then you look at the stats, and you're like, damn, he still put up 1,200 yards at 44.
He was more consistent than Fitzgerald, honestly.
Fitzgerald literally fell off a cliff. That's a receiver who went from like elite, one of the greatest of all time, to okay, why are you still on the field, man? Like, call it quits.
Well, it also wasn't 100% him when you got guys like John Skelton throwing to you.
Well, yeah, even when he had Kyler though.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was
he was good for Kyler.
Was the last year or two. But yeah, bro, it was just like, man, like when he spent so much, he went from Kurt Warner to just a long laundry list of just below average quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong year. That's the other way. So the last 2 years, 75 catches, 804 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then this last year, 54 receptions, 409, and 1 touchdown. That's with Kyler
I'll say that his production was
proportionate.
His production was proportionate to his usage. I'll say that.
Yeah, he had 0 catches of 20 plus this year.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
he was a slot guy.
Yeah. All right. So before I get into this, actually, just in 1 or 2 sentences, who do you think falls under the bigger microscope or like direct relation to Julio, now that they're going to be the guy here, who falls under the bigger microscope? And I'll keep it just to players. Is it Ridley or Pitts? Like, now that Julio's gone, like if this person does well or doesn't do well, who's going to get more scrutiny? That's the better question. Who's going to have the more scrutinized player here in Atlanta? Is it Ridley or Pitts, Marco?
I thought you were going to throw Matt Ryan in there.
Actually, yeah. Let's go Ridley, Pitts, Ryan, or Arthur Smith.
It definitely won't be Pitts because he's, first year. We don't really even know what to expect from him.
Yeah, but also think about it. It's like, oh, this is the guy they drafted and thought they could get rid of Julio.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's...
Sorry, I'll let you answer.
Yeah, Ridley will get the second most, but I'm really not worried about Ridley at all. Matt Ryan, to me, is going to get the most scrutiny, and he's the one we should be the most worried about because, it's like he is the one who benefited the most from Julio. But at the same time, we've seen him without Julio, and he looked okay.
Right.
Great, if not okay, But yeah, it's definitely going to be him. It won't be Arthur Smith either because, they'll be like, oh, well, he didn't have Julio. This is like a rebuild. It's his first year, So if we do bad, they're not going to, come down on Arthur Smith like that. But Matt Ryan, who survived the draft, survived Justin Fields, all that, he's going to be the one that if things go bad, we're all going to put the blame on him.
He'll be public enemy number one.
Yeah.
Micah, because I know yours is going to be the spiciest. I'm going to save you for last. I think I'm going to go Pitts just because. I think, the media is going to be like, look, Kyle Pitts only has this many yards and this many touchdowns, or is doing that, he's going off. He's doing all this, while Julio is only doing this. I think that correlation a lot here in Atlanta. Maybe not nationally, but as far as Atlanta fans go, you're going to see a lot of the Falcons forums and a lot of the Instagram posts talking about that, and on Twitter especially. You're going to see
Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce. Oh my God, Bryce. As soon as that got traded, he sent me like a Cam Newton text saying he's in pain. Like it was it was in wingdings essentially. I was like, cut it out, emo boy.
He was sad about Julio.
Yeah. And then Micah, what are you thinking? I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds, but I'll have my headset on.
All right. I would say Ridley because I think Ridley is definitely going to face a lot more defenses are going to do a lot more to try to stop Ridley, but ultimately I think it's going to fall on Matt. You don't have Julio. Julio's been your go-to guy for pretty much the past decade, so he's gone now, and you still have good weapons, but how do you fare without having that big 6'3" guy who can outrun everybody on the field? And So ultimately, as the leader of the offense, if we have another year where we finish 16th in overall offense, or if we finish middle of the pack when we still technically have the weapons to be a top 10 offense, I think a lot of that, some of that heat has to come down on a good bit of that heat has to come down on him. So
fair enough. I don't think anybody's wrong here, honestly. I think when you trade away someone like this, and especially in the fashion that it happens and the accompaniment of drafting, an offensive weapon at number 4, you have a young guy in the waiting. You have a new head coach. You have a quarterback that there was a little bit of discord with there, via some of his statements that were released. I think they're all going to be attached to it, in all honesty.
You know what? One thing that I think we might see, because Matt Ryan to me has always given me the impression that he feels pressure to get the ball to the star. I always felt like he, because when Matt Ryan was always at his best when he spread it around, when he would spread it around.
Yeah, the Shanahan season with 13 touchdowns to 13 different receivers.
But
MVP.
Remember the next season though, when Sark took over, and there was all this rumbling in the media about, Julio hasn't caught a touchdown in 8 games or whatever. And Matt was pressing. He was pressing to try to get Julio the ball. And it just wasn't in rhythm. Nothing was in rhythm. It all looked so forced. So maybe not having that self-perceived escape valve will maybe bring him back to it, or maybe make him play in a way that will capitalize more on what he's good at. I don't know. That's just a thought.
The only thing I don't necessarily agree with is because I've already seen headlines about how this is Ridley's chance to break out. So yeah, while you lose Julio, now all the pressure's on. Now you gotta get Ridley 100 something catches a year. Force feed Ridley. Calvin Ridley.
He would force feed Ridley to not force feed Julio.
Bruh. Well, I mean, like think about it. Like that Saints game last year, that ridiculous catch that Ridley made on the sideline, bro, it wasn't even open. Like, I don't know what made him like throw that, but it was just like, bro, you just threw it up and hoped that he caught it, and he did. So, but I mean,
like he trusted him more than Julio.
Yeah.
Like but so now I think it's, do you force feed Ridley and
or Pitts?
Boy, that frame, maybe he's allergic to big guys.
With the red, my only thing is, Ridley's gotten a lot of red zone looks over the years, in his past 3 years he's been there. So now that there's no Julio, I'm wondering, will his touchdown start to drop because he might get a little more attention in the red zone because teams now focus on him. Now, I mean, with Pitts might take Pitts. Right, I
think Pitts might save him there.
Yeah, Pitts will break that up because I think with Julio, he always knew that since Julio was going to have like 3 guys on him, he knew that, okay, Ridley's clearly my next best option. So that's why he would lock in on him like that. That's why I think Calvin was such a big target. But then at the same time, I mean, maybe Pitts will help, but Calvin's not going to be as open as he has been in the last couple of years.
I will say this, though, because there were a few times where Matt missed Hayden Hurst. And at 6'5", 260, he just he
was looking at Ridley.
And what was it? Was it Ridley that one play he threw it up to hit the Julio in the slot, and Hayden Hurst, Julio's got double coverage. Nobody's covering Hayden Hurst, and he's like, Julio, catch it, jump ball.
I remember that. Hayden was butt naked.
Right. I remember a good amount of those where it's like if Matt would have just looked the other way.
Boy, there's I mean, you know how many tapes we've sent to each other going, look how open he was here. How did Matt not see that? But that's Monday morning quarterback type stuff there. We're not we're not down there going, all right, well, this 300-pound guy has been beating this tackle all game. This guy's blitzing me. This guy I thought wasn't in coverage, and like, oh no, he is. Like, it's easy for me to watch it in 0.25 speed and go, look how open he was, idiot.
Right. Especially when you're locked in on what you think is going to work.
Right. I mean,
and not
in the red
mobile,
zone where it's like even quicker.
And not mobile.
This big. Right. Yeah. And with a weaker arm.
Right. Not mobile with a weaker
arm. No mobile with a weaker arm.
Knowing all these things while you're trying to process. It's like, oh shit, I can't do that. Can't do that. Oh shit, can't do that.
So let's cover a little bit of, what this frees up for us. With that approximate, it's like a little over $8 million is what we're going to have free this year to spend now that after we sign the rookies. And we still have a couple of areas of need, which, are no surprise. And, it's like, it's really up in the air of how we're going to address this because, 1, we're changing styles of defense. 2, we're changing coaches. We don't know what they want. We have a different GM. It leaves a lot of questions with Falcons fans. And honestly, dating back to it, even with Dan Quinn and Dimitroff, half the time I thought they were going to do something that they didn't. It's like, oh yeah, we'll obviously sign a big D tackle to sit next to Grady Jarrett. And we were like, well, let's sign a 4th-string defensive back and a hybrid linebacker / safety who has washed out on 3 teams. And you're like,
hey man, we went and got Crawford. Man, we got Jack Crawford.
Grady Jarrett's out with this game with an ankle injury. We should probably sign a D tackle, but we're gonna bring a practice squad corner up.
We're gonna bring a second punter in, and y'all laugh, but it's things we've done. It's like Matt Weil, yeah, bring you in along with Bosher.
Whatever happened to him?
I liked him. I like Matt Weil a lot. I still follow him on Instagram, but I don't think he's on the team.
Now we're yeah.
No, I'm sorry. He has a Super Bowl ring. He was on the Bucks practice squad.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He is a Super Bowl champion. All right.
So does what's his name? No.
Who?
Josh Rosen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, did he? I thought he got replaced, or was he still on there at the end of the season?
He was still on the team.
I think he was on the practice squad, and
hey.
Harvey's
gonna go out and be like, he's gonna go to a bar and this is all he's gonna have to say. Yeah, I was a first round pick and I'm a Super Bowl champion. Just don't fill in the middle. And people are like, whoa! This guy's amazing.
Wow. This guy lived a great life. He accomplished all of my dreams.
Yeah, ladies, see this ring right here? Won a Super Bowl. In a Super Bowl with Tom Brady in it. I won.
Top 10 NFL pick.
Great story to tell. So Harvey made it to the mountains, Ryan.
I see that. So Harvey, he said, hey, man, you want to meet in Dahlonega and go burn some jerseys? And I was like, not going to Dahlonega, not for anything unless I'm going to the mountains. So Harvey's made it to the mountains.
Was that where Devil's Backbone was?
It was.
Okay.
Those are my younger days when I was like driving fast on dangerous roads. That's kind of a thrill.
What, on that little mountain pass?
Mm-hmm.
Not in the car that's not yours.
Right. Exactly.
I did that. I went with a friend, and I didn't know he was going to do this, but we were going on a hike, and we were with a couple friends, and he was in his Mercedes doing like drifting on that thing. He was like hugging. Oh my God, that was like scariest. Any second we could have like flown off that.
The first time I did it was with our friend Hale, and he had an S2000 that he had souped up and all this, and they were part of like an S2000 club, and we went up there and did it, and they were all just driving fast. I was like, I'm gonna die. I didn't know this is what we were doing.
That's how I felt because I was in the passenger seat, and I was like, if we swerve off this thing, the whole door is gonna come down on my face.
Man, look, I don't know if you've ever sat in an S2000. They're not made for people over like 5'10".
S2000's a Honda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
okay. This kid was a what's the other one? Like a
Nismo.
Huh?
Nismo.
Like no, it's like maybe like a Mazda or
a Datsun.
One of these smaller cars. Like he's a
RX-8?
Something like that. He's an enthusiast of that car.
Or Miata.
We were in the Mercedes with the big tires, but he really wanted to do it in his little car. He said when you do it in the little car, you get a lot faster. And I was like, you wanted to go faster than that? Are you
I don't understand what you mean by faster on this road. We're all aware of the conditions of this road, right?
Right.
Like, what if the mistake happens and what? There's nothing over there.
I was asking that. He's like, I don't even think about that.
Yeah, he probably just assumes he's going to do some Fast and Furious shit and just like fly.
Look, there's a crane. I'm going to fly to it and hook onto that crane. And
luckily, though, on the way down, some like civilian was like going the speed limit and wouldn't let him pass. so he didn't get a chance to do it on the way.
A civilian, like this person isn't. Like he's just some.
He's a deviant. At that point, you're a criminal.
All right, let's get it back on track here. We went way left with that one. So speaking of living on the edge players are actually one of the things that we need. That's like saying the sun's going to rise here in Atlanta. Like the Falcons need pass rush. Still, we need edge rushers. We need interior D-line, like mentioned before, that we can put next to Grady, and people that can play that nose tackle position here for us. Because in that 3-4, that's something that you desperately need. I seriously hope that we're not planning on playing Grady there at any point at this. Like, please don't. Like, Grady will not re-sign with us if that's what we do with him this year.
Right.
We need interior D-line, like I just said, cornerback, kinda, and running back.
Quick question about Grady though. Can we pretty much expect that he's not going to re-sign with us?
He's
Because
got 2 more years.
I think he will.
2 more years.
honestly.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah. I honestly feel like he's one of those guys that we can count on it because we gave him a chance. His dad played here. But then again, I thought Julio was going to be a Falcon for life.
Well, my thing is the new scheme is Grady the type of guy that they're willing to pay.
No, not the money he's going to be able to get.
Yeah, and I mean, I know typically outside of maybe a nose tackle, Dean Pease doesn't necessarily value just high-priced edge rushers. So, I mean,
like edge players in the 3-4, like the ends. Gotcha.
Just pass rushers in general. I mean, nose tackles, like just like they thinking about those teams that they had. Maybe I can't think because they had Haloti Nada, they had Terrell Suggs, and they were pretty high priced. But I know those Patriots teams they didn't have.
Yeah, that's the Patriots way though. That's not really. I don't think I can attach that and attribute that to Dean Pease. More so, I can say that's a Bill Belichick and Patriots way.
Yeah.
But so I was looking at it after I saw how much we were going to free it. What is going on with my hair right now? It is going crazy. So I was looking at the top available remaining. Really, we could call it remaining free agents at this point because they were so late in the game and we had to wait this long to make any type of moves. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to name it for all the people listening. Maybe I can bring it up here. Let's do this. So people watching, let's wait. Let's go. There we go. I want that one, and let's pull up this guy. Rundown. So y'all can kind of see here on our little rundown who's out there and who's available, just so you can take a look along with us. But you got, as far as edge rushers goes, for people that are listening on audio only, you got Melvin Ingram, who's 32, Justin Houston, 32, Olivier Vernon, 30, Everson Griffin, 33, Trent Murphy, 30, Adrian Claiborne at 33, Vic Beasley, 29, John Simons, 30, and Jabal Sheard at 32. We all know, I knew I was going to get a laugh out of somebody. Interior D-line, you got Sheldon Richardson at 30, P.J. Hall at 26, Jarrell Casey at 31, Kawan Short at 32, Geno Atkins 33, Snacks Damon Harrison at 32, David Irving 28, Corey Peters 33, and Alan Bailey 32. And then I combined cornerbacks and safeties here. So you got Steven Nelson at 28, who's a corner, Brian Poole, the former Falcon at 28, Richard Sherman, corner at 33, Darquez Denard, corner at 29, Malik Hooker, safety at 25, Jeff Heath, safety at 30, Kenny Vaccaro, safety at 30, Garyon Conley, corner at 26, and Dre Kirkpatrick, corner at 31. And the last column is running back. You got Le'Veon Bell at 29, Todd Gurley 27, Duke Johnson 27, DeAndre Washington 28, Devontae Freeman 29, Dion Lewis at 30, and Chris Thompson at 30 as well. So now, I know we've talked about some of our needs, and I know, we all have our feelings on what we need for this team. So I want to hear what you guys think we're going to sign, and if you want to just, go through and pick this list. And I think we're going to be able to sign 1 to 3 of these guys. So let's just max it out and say 3. Say we sign them for about $2 million a piece and bring them in. I want you guys to pick a combination of the people on this list, or maybe if you know someone outside this list that I didn't name, because these are the guys that I thought were the most plausible to bring in. Who do you think we're going to bring in? And Micah, how would you do it?
All right, so I'll just stick straight to this list. So first of all, I would think maybe go at an edge, an older edge who can probably teach some of the younger guys we have. Justin Houston. He's older. He's lost a step or two. I think he could still. It'd be like us picking up Freeney the Super Bowl year, where it's like, all right, let's just get the last little bit of football out of him, and potentially see if he can kind of help us train some of these younger up and coming guys for the future. I'd kick the tires on Snacks because I think we do need a big bodied interior defensive lineman who can just eat up blocks and keep the lanes clean for Debo and Foyer. Also, you got Snacks in the middle. It's going to take you two people to block him. It's going to allow for
Grady.
Yeah, Grady to get one-on-ones, which he never has an opportunity in one-on-ones. So, and then the third player, I would say Malik Hooker. Extremely talented safety, very rangy safety. The only downside is he's hurt a lot. But if you're looking at maybe $2 million, you're not investing a lot in him. So if he does get hurt, it's not a big financial it's not a big deal that you spent that money on him. So
Marco, who are you looking at?
I like Justin Houston too. Either him or Olivier Vernon. And then I like what Micah said about Harrison. But I definitely would try to pick up. I like the age of Malik Hooker as well. Like, he's young and moldable. But I would want to get Duke Johnson. That's probably one of the names that I think we should probably, bring in as a running back.
Johnson.
You think he could fill that role of the scat back that we don't really have?
Yeah. And I didn't hate Brian Poole when he was here. He's a talented kid.
He's a really, really good nickelback. He's a really good corner, like a slot corner.
Yeah.
And he's a great run support guy.
I just think the scheme is different.
Yeah, I don't think he fits this scheme either, because they like tall, lengthy corners who can get in there inside of a receiver's body. I'm gonna double dip here in one category. I'm gonna bring in Justin Houston and Olivier Vernon, because I think they both offer, one, pass rush. I don't outside of Dante Fowler, we don't have another edge rusher that's really worth anything on the roster.
Dante Fowler.
I think, he was a joke last year, but I think he's going to have a bounce back season. But you're looking at behind Dante Fowler, there's nobody. So you're looking at a huge need there and just rotational guys. Neither of these guys are still starters in today's NFL. They're not going to come out and play all game for you. You're going to need someone you can rotate in and out. So I almost want to triple dip, but because I think Melvin Ingram.
Who's the third person?
Melvin Ingram, but he's got injury problems.
Melvin Ingram.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to go Justin Houston and Olivier Vernon, and then as much as I don't want to, have three people picking the same guy, I think, Snacks is the guy that makes the most sense as far as need goes on this defense. Even though we did bring in, I forgot his name. We brought in a bigger bodied nose tackle to camp. He's one of the 80s or so. I forget how many it is, like 83 that people, are 90. 90 is how your first week is how many you're allowed to have. So he's part of that group. He's like 320, 325. So he, nose tackles are those type of positions to where you can get them from a small school. Like Snacks went to William and Mary. Like people weren't looking at him going, "Oh yeah, he's the one."
Oh, this guy's gonna be an NFL Hall of Famer.
Like he's gonna be the top-rated run defending D lineman in the NFL for like 8 years running. Like No one thought that.
We're gonna get a movie about that guy in like 15 years.
The Ravens make a living off of getting small school nose tackle guys and just bringing them in. With Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, like all those guys. They went to small schools. So
where did Haloti go?
Haloti went to Oregon, I believe. I think. I'm pretty sure though. So yeah, I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna back off it just because of what I just said right there. I convinced myself I'm out of it, and I'm gonna surprise you guys here. I wanted to. I'm gonna surprise you guys. I'm gonna say we're gonna re-sign Todd Gurley. We're gonna have a tandem of Todd Gurley and Mike Davis, and have Cordero Patterson as our scat back.
Todd Gurley going to the Titans, man.
Man, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Like, he would be, man. God. Yeah, that would be. I want Todd to succeed still. I still follow him. He's a good guy. You know, you can't hate a guy for when his body starts to fail him. And I want him to do well. He's still young.
It's Todd Gurley is the NFL's version of Brandon Roy. It's just, you know, those degenerative knees are no joke.
Brandon Roy or Derrick Rose?
Brandon Roy. Because Derrick Rose made a comeback. Brandon Roy.
We don't know. We don't know.
I mean, running backs can't make comebacks.
Yeah, but
I mean,
and we saw what Todd Gurley was out there. He looked worse than Steven Jackson did. He was our new Steven Jackson. He basically was Steven Jackson on repeat remix.
Well, no, like the funny thing was there were early in the season he looked good,
right?
But as the season went on,
that's what happens when you don't have knees.
It was just like, bruh.
Which is why I'm saying bring him in to run him with Mike Davis. Take half his load.
I still
he needs more than half his load.
I still don't trust it. I mean, he'd pretty much just be the guy that you bring in as a battering ram. All right, we're inside the 10. Bring in Gurley.
But he's a good receiving back too.
Yeah, but I don't trust his knees to. You throw him 3 passes a game, you give him 5 carries a game. By the end of the season, his knees are still going out on him.
I don't know,
he couldn't get any separation last year. When he caught passes, it was like you could guarantee that was going. We were losing yards.
So I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram. I've been following him since we signed him last year.
Todd Gurley?
Yeah, Todd Gurley. And he's completely changed the way he's working out this season. You know, last season you saw him doing a lot of those, like typical running back. I'm running up hills, doing all this type of stuff. Because I think he believed that, he still is who he was. And this is his season to bounce back. But you're seeing him do a lot of those knees over toes exercises. And, like, I don't know if y'all follow that guy. But when you start training those knees the right way and you start doing those type of things and you strengthen the knee muscles instead of just doing these outdated supporting muscles. Yeah. Oh, your knees hurt, so let's make your calves and your quads stronger, and then you just blow out your knee again because you're unbalanced.
Too much mass.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. But like, he's seeing, he's doing a lot more stretching, a lot more yoga, a lot more of those type of exercises. I think Todd can get 2 to 3 more effective seasons in the NFL, and I want it to be here. I want it to be with this coach who knows how to use them.
My thing is, I mean, you could be right, but arthritic knees can that save knees who already have arthritis set in?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I've seen just from following knees over toes guy the jump in athleticism from I don't even want to say like athletes that are old, like not old athletes, but like old people. Like I've seen 60-year-olds that have started this and they've started doing things that I haven't been able to do this since I was like 30. And
so the question is, if I started doing his workout, would I be doing Vince Carter dunks?
He said he'd never been able to dunk before in his life, and that he started doing these workouts when he was 35, and now he can like do windmills. He can go behind his back. He can do there's video of it.
How old is he?
He's like 38 or 39 now.
Oh wow.
I might need to try it because if I'm not doing these Vince Carter dunks, Vince Carter in his prime 360 with the windmill, it doesn't work.
Hey, look.
Maybe you can get 45-year-old Vince Carter dunks.
I just want to say this now. We were the first podcast to publicly support knees over toes guy. And then Joe Rogan had to go jump all on it and blow him up. Now he's at like 250,000 followers. We were on there early. We were the first, Joe Rogan. You owe us part of that 100 million. You're welcome.
We like Soldier Boy. Man.
Rogan!
I was Rogan. He took my whole swag.
Quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. I was the first person to put him on.
Stretch Doctor might be the next to blow up. So
hey,
we got a whole interview.
Hey, we need to get. I don't want to call him Knees Over Toes guy. I know that's his Instagram handle. I don't know his name. I need to figure that out.
Knees Over Toes guy. It's good brand.
I like it. I mean, it's easy to remember. Oh no, Ruben, don't talk. What is his name? Ben Patrick. Oh, that's why I don't remember his name because it's basic. He's at 492,000 followers.
Wow.
We started following him.
I need to check that out because I want to dunk too.
Look, I'm telling you, when I get back in, I've been doing whatchamacallit, effect, and it's helping. But when I get back to lifting
we gotta
weights,
before summer's over, I'm gonna get y'all on the court so we can get this footage.
Man, look, that's the whole reason I'm doing this effect. I'm not gonna get out there and get embarrassed. My quickness is gonna be back.
So is Lionel gonna play?
Well,
we'll invite him, but
let's talk about more probable things like us winning the Super Bowl. Lionel might. We might be able to convince Lionel to do it.
He'll make any excuse.
Yeah. I got two kids and they're in school. Well, good excuse.
We'll enjoy. Flu made some fish and grits for us for after the game.
Yeah, come pick it up at this address. Make sure you bring sneakers. He's like, what? So Falcons began minicamp this week. This is their mandatory minicamp, and you're seeing a lot of not a lot. Let me not over-exaggerate that. You're seeing glimpses of what the scheme's going to look like, how Arthur Smith and Dean Pease are actually going to run official practices with everyone there. You're seeing guys in numbers and in positions, and you're starting to get – this is where you start to see what the Falcons could possibly look like as you see the whole team there. One thing for sure that you're seeing is that Frank Darby smile. Man, every single picture that he is in, he's cheesing from ear to ear. It is infectious. I cannot wait. I'm going to try and get Foyer back on here for us. Maybe when they break from minicamp, see if we can get him on here and talk about some things. Maybe talk about some of the defense and what he's seeing. I'm sure he can't give us too much. But you're starting to see, what the future post Julio Jones is going to look like. And one of the things that stood out to me is you're seeing Cordero Patterson used a lot at running back, which excites me because if that was any other team, like if he were to go to a very run-heavy team that's like good with running backs because they just have good running backs, I'd be like, okay, he might do something there. Like the Bears, for instance. When he was on the Bears, he didn't do much up there. But I think that's a lot on the coordinator. Here we got Arthur Smith, who's very creative, and he's going to use Cordero and that 6'2", I think he's 6'2", 6'2" frame, 220 pounds, 225 pounds, and just blazing speed and vision. Because if you're a kick returner, you have some running back in you there. You're going to be able to see him use him in ways that maybe we haven't seen people use him in the past.
Patriots use him really well.
Yeah, the Patriots used him a lot as like a straight ahead runner, though. I remember that.
Well, they mixed it in because you're
right. I do remember. Yeah, I do remember seeing some of those outside and those get creative with them. So yeah, maybe more of that Patriots way. So I'm excited for that. He's a versatile weapon, like one that we have not had here in
Jerry Snowwood.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
he's got that burst. He's got
like
that
Antoine
kind of burst.
Smith, but he was never used right.
Yeah, that was the Cutter and Mike Smith.
Cutter again. How do I use this?
It's a nice weapon. I don't know how to use it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for that. Frank Darby and I actually talked to him. Yeah, Kyle Pitts has actually been shown out at camp here as well. There was a photo that leaked, and they were doing, for those of y'all that haven't been to Flowery Branch, the fans sit up on a hill that overlook, and the hill just kind of rolls down onto the field, and they end all of their practices by doing hill sprints. And hill sprints aren't easy as it is, and especially after a long practice. But there's this picture of all the players, and they're doing it. It's a shot straight down the line. Like you see Foye like head down, turning, he's kind of towards the front of it, and then you see like 20 yards in the pack, you're like, damn, that guy's way out in front of everyone, and it's Kyle Pitts, and he's just like, he's looking at the camera like, look at these slow people. He's one of the bigger guys that are probably doing that hill sprint, as far as on the offensive skill players go, and he's 2-3 steps ahead of everybody else, and I'm like,
yeah, as long as his legs are, it's like 3 steps to get up that.
Boy,
1, 2, 3. All right, I'm up here.
Like, I'm gonna see if I can find that here in a little bit and bring it up. But lastly, AJ Terrell is looking really comfortable in this scheme, like really comfortable. And I think this goes back to more of what got him drafted. Honestly, being in an aggressive defense that allows him to press, get up in receivers' faces, play a mixture of man and zone, and really just show out.
It must feel good, though, to be able to go into the season knowing what you have to do and not have to wait till halfway this season to understand how the defense works.
All right, when Dan Quinn
like, oh, man, did I not teach all that?
Let's see.
Did he not teach all that? Like, this was supposed to be the day 1 installment. It's like, I don't know what he was teaching us.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find it.
Dan Quinn was the Herman Boone of defensive coordinators.
Boy,
I run 3 plays. I run 3 plays. Give it time, it always works. No, it doesn't work.
Coach,
but what if this happens? But what if this happens, Coach? What if this happens? It's like 3 plays.
Oh, I think this is it. Oh, well, we can't see. That's not the angle. There it is. So let's bring this up for everyone. There it is. So you got Foye here, and then Kyle Pitts. Look at that. At least a step and a half ahead of everyone. And I'll send it to you guys here in a second via Instagram. But man, that man's gonna be a beast. I can't wait. I can't wait. What else we got here? Oh, in a little bit of a less exciting news, Calvin Ridley had a minor operation to clean up some inflammation and they were told us clean up his foot. Apparently he had been dealing with something in the offseason, a lot of discomfort, a little inflammation, something that was bothering him. And he just took this time to get that taken care of because he wants to go into the season healthy instead of trying to play through it. Because we know what it looks like when receivers keep trying to play through foot injuries here in Atlanta.
We must be chilling with Julio too much. Why didn't he do that like 3 months ago?
Like, honestly, well, it's time for OTAs, surgery time.
Hey,
like, oh man, I can't run on this foot.
Scotty. That's the Scottie Pippen playbook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad I didn't get a new contract. Let me get my foot worked on right before camp.
TJ Warren, damn, I don't like this coach, man. Let me go under this knife real quick. It's like,
bruh, matter of fact, it sounds like Favre would have done back in his playing days because he hated OTA so much, so he'd intentionally have some kind of procedure so he'd miss OTA. I can't practice, coach. I'm sorry, I can't practice my foot.
Veterans, they learn the tricks of the trade.
There wasn't anything mandatory till today, right?
Correct.
Or Monday?
Yeah, Tuesday technically. I think I think Tuesday was the
Tuesday.
beginning of it. I think
so Calvin really wasn't like there beforehand.
No, I mean he's been working out. I think he's mainly here in Georgia, but he's bouncing all around like most NFL players do, trying to find the best training. Mm. And boy,
maybe he was just trying to power through it and then he realized it wasn't going to cut it. I don't know. He should have done that shit earlier.
Yeah. But maybe I don't know. Who knows? I don't blame him. Actually, well, when they asked Arthur Smith about it, he had this to say. He said, the entire objective here is to get these guys and make sure they're in the best shape going into training camp and ready to roll for the regular season. Somebody like Calvin's spot, Smith said, somebody like in Calvin's spot. So we have different guys working through different things, but he has been great. We have done a lot of walkthroughs and do stuff and whatever we can. Mobile classroom, and Calvin has been great. So, like, when they asked him about it, he was kind of like, well, you know, he didn't seem too worried because he knows Calvin puts in the work. He's seen his tape. Like, he's a veteran at this point. He's not a young receiver. He's the guy. He knows what he's doing. What he did in the offseason last year is what made him what he was last season. So, I don't think we should be too worried about this, especially if it's, you know, it's been being touted as minor. So, don't know what that was, but in the last little bit of Falcons news here, the Falcons announced who we're going to be doing our joint practices with. We will be conducting them with the Miami Dolphins, and it will be surrounding our August 21st game with them in the preseason. I think that's game 2, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be down there in Miami doing joint practices with them and getting a look at, you know, what we look like against other NFL action when that tape starts to roll out. And I'm actually really excited about this because the Dolphins have 2 really good corners. They've got a really good secondary, and their front seven's actually getting a lot better too. So we're going to get a lot of good reps in against a really good defense here and really get to see what
I feel like you usually don't get to practice against teams you play against in the season.
No,
we don't play them. Wait, yeah, we do. We do see them later in the season, yeah.
We did it against the Jaguars and then played them later in the regular season too. So
that was preseason.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we had the joint practices with the Jaguars
3 years ago.
Yeah, and we played them in the regular season as well.
I remember that.
So, but
I thought we played them in the preseason, not the regular season.
No, we played them in the regular season. Well, we did play them in the preseason, but I remember it was a year we did the.
That was like 20. We went to that. No, damn. Now I'm doubting myself.
The year we played the Colts, right?
God, that was a long time ago. We played the Colts.
And the Titans.
You're right, though. That was preseason. But yeah, that is strange because we're playing them. We're practicing with them. We're doing the preseason, and we're doing the AFC
in the regular season game.
Yeah.
No. My thing is, that's a good test for our offense, but will we see their closer? Will we see their closer in these workouts? Because I'm interested to see what other quarterback weapons they have, because we know Tua's the starter. You know, Tua's that starter. He's gonna give you three strong quarters, and then you got to bring in the closer to finish the game.
Let's see, who is it?
Tua's got the full job now. His magic took his.
Oh, it's Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, he's a closer. Oh God! Last time we played him, no, it was ugly. It was very ugly for us.
Man, he looked like a Pro Bowler out there against us last time.
Yeah.
That's those three plays that Dan Quinn calls.
He's like,
we made 3. Marcus Mariota look like a Pro Bowler, so I mean, shit.
Yeah, but that does it for the Grits Blitz. We can go straight into basketball if y'all want, or we can take a quick break here and come out on the other side and talk about it. What y'all want to do?
Let me just get some water.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
All right, guys, we will be back here in a little bit, and make sure to stick around. We will be talking about some Hawks. Peace.
By Sandoval. Put in Sandoval. Panda.
Ryan, I think you're muted.
I am. I was singing in the mic and everything, saying, let's bring it back from the break. And I said, welcome to everyone back. And no one heard it. Cool.
Oh, wait, you came back already?
Yeah, we're back, man. But y'all were having a good conversation.
Well, you're muted.
Hey, guys, we're back, and no one can hear me.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Right. We're back, and we didn't even know it.
I had no idea.
You get the behind the scenes of Fish and Grits.
It's good,
uncut.
Though.
Guys, remember to click that like button and smash that subscribe button.
The what? What are they
and
supposed to do?
Comment.
Smash that subscribe button and click that like button.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Also, click the notification bell.
Like, subscribe, comment, like, subscribe, comment.
Oh,
like,
okay,
subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. Got you.
And make sure you comment on our material because it helps us out in the algorithm.
Yeah, we're gonna need that algorithm popping.
Get it popping.
So you hear the sound of sounds like sneaker. Now it's time for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. And we are further and further into the playoffs every time we see you. And it is exhilarating. A couple more teams have gone home since the last time we met. The most important of those to mention is the Knicks.
Who went home? Who are they playing?
The Knicks. So the coach. Okay, so just to talk about it. So we're basically going to talk playoffs, but before that, we can talk about some of these awards that they gave out, just to let people know where we are in time. So, first of all, okay, what were all the? So the MVP was given. Jokic won that. Really, no surprise. Embiid finished with the most second place votes, and then it was Steph. Derrick Rose got a vote. I didn't know fans could vote for MVP, so I was a little bit confused about that because someone was like, "Oh, he got that vote from the fans." Since when could fans vote for MVP?
Yeah, I was very confused about that.
I didn't get my ballot, so
yeah, I didn't get a ballot either.
Or Trey would have had a vote. So I don't know who's making up that tomfoolery. That was one of these dumb press people who voted for Derrick Rose. So yeah, Jokic won. No surprise there. Speaking of Derrick Rose, his coach, longtime coach Tibbs, which actually surprised me, he won Coach of the Year, which was weird because Monty had won, I guess, the Associated Players or the coaches one. He won the coaches poll, for Coach of the Year, but for whatever reason, Coach Tibbs, doing what he always does, mind you, won the Coach of the Year. I mean,
Fooling
he deserves
everyone.
it, but
No, that was a snub, bruh.
it
That
was
was a super snub. It's just because Tibbs is New York. Is the New York Knicks head coach, and everybody's so excited to see them back in the playoffs. They
and I
gave
bet like
him
60% of the votes live in the state of New York.
yeah. They gave him extra credit. Meanwhile, Monty Williams took a Suns team who went 8-0 in the bubble but was so far out that they went 8-0 in the bubble and still didn't make the playoffs. And he was a 2 seed in the West over teams like the Clippers, Denver, the Lakers. Like these are all teams, the defending champion. And matter of fact, they put out the defending champions.
You would have thought that Chris Paul had like half the MVP votes the way they just disrespected Monty Williams.
Bruh.
I mean, Monty Williams too deserves so much. One, also that record would have been first in the East, so it's like dumb. First of all, but what Monty Williams has done with that offense, like, man, I had no idea until I watched some pretty in-depth breakdown today of that offense and that pick and roll game. What he's done to that, the wrinkles he's like, you think, oh, just pick and roll, it's this, but man, the wrinkles he's added to that offense and forced the chemistry between Chris Paul and Devin Booker and going against the grain with what a lot of coaches normally do with 2 ball dominant players like that. He got
right.
robbed.
It's the opposite. We're gonna get into that, but it's the complete opposite of what the Clippers do. It's like Booker always used to catching the ball at the top of the key and just making things happen. But Monty has introduced pin downs, all kinds of interesting concepts where he can get to his spot without having to dribble the ball for the whole possession. And Chris Paul obviously is a genius when it comes to setting up like that. So yeah, Ryan, you're right. He's but man, those Clippers, goddamn. We're gonna get to that though, but
meanwhile, Tibbs can't figure out who to start and who to keep on his bench. His entire scoring squad is on his bench. It's like, come on, bro.
Worst thing to me about Tibbs is like the Tibbs teams, like we talked about this, but they always overachieve because they just try so damn hard. Like they're playing at a playoff pace the whole entire year, and by the time they get to the playoffs they lose their advantage because everybody's playing like they're in the playoffs. So but the thing about Tibbs that's crazy is like when you watch any other game, and one of my biggest issues with the NBA these days is the illegal screen, but when you watch the other game, like there's so many screens. When you watch the Knicks, it's like they're literally playing like rec ball, or at the there's no picks, no screens, no spacing, no offensive concepts at all. Just like, okay, well, if Julius Randle can't do it, Trey Burke, you try, or RJ, go stand in the left hand corner, and
Bruh, but even when their bigs did set picks,
they were illegal.
It was just like, all right, I'm a hug you and push you to where I want you,
or trip you.
I'm gonna wrap you up. Oh, that was a legal screen. What are you talking about?
Right, but that's to my point. It's like it's not like screens that the coach designed in a set. It's more like some dude playing at the court. It's trying to set some dumbass screen for a player that doesn't even need it. You know what I mean? It's like your screen's not helping the spacing. You're just setting a screen like you're playing a video game.
That one big man that just runs and sets the screen and doesn't do anything.
Doesn't roll
sets the screen
at all.
He just kind of stands there afterwards. I'm just going.
You're like roll. Don't set a screen and not roll.
Oh my
you
god,
son of a bitch.
Or pop, do something. Don't
anything.
Just stand there.
Right.
I've set my screen. My time is done.
Right. He just holds a finger up, sets the screen and holds a finger up. It's like,
Marco is turning into a robot.
I was a robot for a game.
Well, you were frozen like this.
Beep, boop, beep.
And then all we heard was beep, from you.
Well, I just said I 100% agree with you that Monty was the coach of the year, and that was a snub. So let's get into talking about some of these games. So the Lakers, that's another team that we have to sort of talk about that went home. And I want to pose this question to you, but so we're just reviewing it. So the Lakers went up 2-1 after Chris Paul got hurt, right? And then they looked after that in that fourth game, AD got hurt. And it started looking, people maybe thought the Lakers had a chance to sort of maybe in that series, maybe even it up, maybe long enough for AD to maybe come back. But that didn't happen. So game 5 they got destroyed. LeBron James showed a lot of signs of, sort of not really wanting to be there. You could see the belief wasn't all the way there. He actually left his team for the locker room with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And he was like, this is y'all's loss, blah, blah, blah. Went to the back. Game 6, AD tried to go. Obviously, in my impression, I saw AD, what I perceived that as is he knew he couldn't go. He just wanted to get that out, I tried. He just wanted everybody to see, I tried. See, look, I tried.
That's dumb,
but he knew for a fact
KD did.
Right. It's dumb. It was dumb. But he wasn't trying like KD was trying. You could tell AD was out there just got
crossed.
KD acted like he was healthy. Right. KD was acting like he was healthy out there. KD was like, how good am I? He was testing it out. And then he tried a little, and then you just saw his whole leg recoil. But yeah, AD knew he wasn't about to play that game, in my opinion. But anyway, so the Phoenix came out and they went wire to wire. Pretty much from the first half, you could see LeBron not really trying defensively. Anytime Chris Paul would get on the screen or he would be the first one back on defense, he'd literally get away 4 feet and ask for somebody else to come. Anytime Tyler or Vogel tried to adjust and double Booker, he would sort of just stand there. He wouldn't even really try to double Booker. He would just stand there. Basically, he wasn't trying. He completely gave up on his team, on the Lakers. And obviously they were undermanned against a more talented team. Their chances of winning that series once AD got injured were very low. But I want to ask y'all, does this, seeing the way that he quit on his team, and we've seen this before, we saw this from LeBron in that first championship against Dallas, where he sort of quit. We saw it against the Spurs where he was having cramps, and then, he visibly checked out when they got beat by a record margin in the finals. But here's another sample of it. It's late in his career. Obviously, he's getting older, can't carry a team anymore like he used to. But does this sort of hurt his overall campaign in the GOAT conversation to have that kind of thing?
I know Mike and I are going to be on separate sides of this, but I don't think he's thinking for the same reason. No, I don't think so, because I think this is kind of something that people know about LeBron. And I think LeBron's okay with that. LeBron has learned at this point in his career, it's about winning, and when you're losing, he's like, I'm not going to waste my energy. I only got so much energy left. I only got so much I can do with this. I'm not going to try and kill myself out here, especially when I'm not 100% already. You definitely saw that game when he left with 8 minutes left. He walked off the court, or walked off the bench, I should say, and was like, going to the locker room. I think, he's okay with that, and I think he's okay with that perception of that, because he's been under such scrutiny for his whole career for things, not things like this are not okay in my book. I'm not defending it. But I think he's been under such a microscope his whole career in this GOAT conversation, and people trying to find any little reason to hate him, that he's just like, whatever, I'm all right with it.
Micah?
So I do think it hurts his legacy in a way. One of the big arguments that a lot of the LeBron supporters used is the whole he's never lost in the first round. Well, guess what? That it happened. and you know, and one of the things that, like I said, is I am a Jordan fan, and there was one thing that I never really saw from Jordan, and that was necessarily just looked like he quit. You never got that he quit, even when his teams didn't necessarily show up. You knew he was going to do everything he could to keep the team in the game. Versus LeBron, it's just like bro, this is over. And it I don't know, was I talking with y'all about that, the whole like the no, it wasn't, I wasn't talking to y'all, but going back to that Golden State series, his last series against Golden State in the finals where they got swept. And after the big JR blunder in game one, and it was almost just like he was so done. It was just like, well, this was our opportunity to win the game, and JR just blew it. And for the series, it was just
quit.
The level of effort wasn't even there. It was just like, well, we're done. I'm screw it. No point of me trying to even steal a game or two. It's just he went into cruise control almost. So, you know, is he still one of the top players of all time? Absolutely. But I mean, as far as the GOAT conversation, it's things like this that in my eyes hurts him in that conversation.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I tend to agree.
You can't say Jordan's not a quitter though.
What do you mean?
As far as what?
The
94?
Yeah, like quitting basketball and then quitting baseball.
We don't know all the
circumstances.
We don't know all the circumstances regarding that.
Because I know there was a lot that went into his gambling and stuff like that. So I mean, as far as you know, it could have been
his dad just died.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
But I mean, but as far
that's
as
a bad. I mean, just say that's a bad example, Ryan.
He quit in '98 again.
His dad died.
He retired as opposed to he retired as opposed to in just quitting in games.
If there wouldn't have been a lockout, Jordan would not have announced his retirement. So I mean, I see what you're saying there. I see what they're saying, but I'll go ahead. This is what I'm gonna say. Not only does it hurt him, it completely disqualifies him from the GOAT conversation. There's no other GOAT that we consider on that list who has quit on tape. There's not another one. Kobe literally tore his Achilles, came back and hit those free throws. Like, he gave his all till the last second. Like, I don't care if they were down 30, if they were down 20, if they were down 5, the same amount of effort. And that's the same thing. Obviously, Kareem is different because we saw him play when he was very old. So he didn't really have anything to give anymore. But that's an example of not quitting. Like, he played till he was over. So, I mean, just like, and then Michael brought it up, the whole example of the whole J.R. Smith thing where he basically put his hands up and he just said, in a series where it's like, yeah, the Golden State Warriors are better, but player for player, they weren't as overmatched especially in that gentleman sweep one. But as long as he had Kyrie and Kevin Love, they weren't as overmatched as it seemed. And a lot of times he just gave up the ghost. So I just think it disqualifies him in the sense that we never saw a lot of these other guys quit on the court. You can get philosophical with it if you want, Ryan, and be like, well, he did technically quit, but no. We're talking about when you're out there being a leader of men, being the alpha on your team, setting example. Because let's be honest, that game 6, they probably weren't going to win it anyway. But there was assignments that he blew that directly led to them losing. Like, he wouldn't even cross half court in a lot of the plays. There was a play towards the end of 2-3 minutes left in the game. Like, he was complaining about a call. Jay Crowder came back. It was his assignment. Jay Crowder stood there for like 5 seconds, caught the ball, wet a 3, put him up double digits again. It's like, I don't know. But you're right though. Maybe he's just at that point where, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna play for USA. I'm gonna play for the. We got to take down these monsters." Like, bro, no one's gonna see that movie. Man.
I mean, I think
We will.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Yeah, I'm sure a lot
But
of people will.
I
think
mean,
he's
I'm
just
sure.
okay with
But
it,
I'm just
though.
saying, it's like the new legacy of these L's. So in other LeBron news, he decided to change his number to 6. I guess trying to like do a Kobe kind of thing. That's
We'll be going
23.
back to his Heat number.
Yeah, like his 23 failed him, so let's start fresh.
Maybe it's a sign that
Get
he's about
back
to build
to
another super
the winning
team.
ways. Well, I mean, who could he get? Like, I mean, Bradley Beal, maybe.
Kawhi.
I mean, I know Dame is unhappy.
Kawhi ain't going up there.
Kawhi ain't going to play with LeBron. He'd go to Golden State before he went to the Lakers.
People keep saying Steph.
But Steph is not going to leave the Warriors.
Who was it? It was somebody was like, they need to get Dame Lillard. And I'm like, yeah, but you ain't got enough to get. You ain't got enough to get Dame Lillard. Let
They really don't. They should settle for CJ.
Here, we'll give you Kuzma and Andre Drummond for Dame Lillard. Nah, we're good on that.
Maybe he gets his bro, Chris Paul.
Moving. Chris Paul makes so much money though. It's
Chris Paul's a free agent.
Very hard to. Is he going to be a free agent after this year? I think he has one more year.
But I mean, at a certain point, Chris Paul's even older than LeBron, even though that's one of his best friends. It's like, bro, like what's the age limit? What's the age limit y'all trying to reach, man? I mean, God, you're trying to have the oldest team in the NBA. You want to get an injury-prone point guard as well, and force you to play off the ball again. Because I know you prefer the ball.
LeBron, watching LeBron get defended like Giannis was just like, oh my God. What LeBron's game like devolved to like early Cavaliers LeBron. He was just like where he does that thing where he backs up to half court and just like takes the big step and goes for it. Just try to run by people, but he can't do that anymore. They just built a wall on his ass. It was crazy. But so moving on, talking about Luka. So Luka was the Debo to the Clippers, Craig and Smokey effectively in that series. Like he came out there, he had his team looking like the better team. There was no answers for him. They were shook. It was clear every home game the Clippers had with Luka game, and somehow they still ended up losing the series because Kawhi finally, after game 6, decided like, okay, I'm not going to let Luka keep switching off me with these screens. I'm going over the screens and I'm fighting through these screens. I'm staying on Luka. Still didn't really stop him. Luka still dropped like 40 something points, but it set a precedent of toughness that they weren't scared. And just like in the movie, Craig and Smokey defeated the bully and moved on. But I want to ask this question just because I know if something similar would have happened to Trey in Atlanta, everybody would be asking the question, oh, blah, blah, blah. Is this enough? Can we do it like this? Can we win like that? So can Dallas, because going in the past couple of years, everybody was pretty high on the talent around Luka. They were like, oh, Chris Stopps and Luka, what a duo. They were like, Tim Hardaway, that's a great sidekick. But now the narrative sort of switching and being like, okay, well, Luka doesn't have anybody. So I want to ask y'all, what do y'all think? Do you think Dallas can win in that kind of way in the playoffs when Luka is literally like taking 70% of the team's shots and just throwing the scraps, hoping that his teammates are hot at any given moment? Do y'all think that they can have real success like that? Or do you think it's the talent? Tell me just what you think about that.
I want this. So I don't think they can win like that. I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about the whole Luka and Trey thing and how people are oh yeah, Mavericks definitely won that trade. Luka's so much better than Trae Young. And it's funny because Luka can score. Luka is a monster. But I think the difference is I feel like Trae gets his teammates more involved. Trae makes players around him better versus Luka is just talented. Luka's just a straight talented player, but you don't see him really improve the games of the guys around him, enhance their games. Like Kristaps, as great as Kristaps, as physically gifted as Kristaps is, like with Capella's not a great offensive player, but Trae makes him a fairly good offensive piece because he can all that athleticism he's got. He can get the lane, draw the defense, and create shots for him. Versus Luka doesn't create as many shots for his teammates or clean, good shots for his teammates as Trae does. So I think as ball dominant as Luka is and as many shots as he takes, it's going to be hard for them. I don't know if you can legitimately put a team around him that could compete without him just having to give up some of that ball dominance. It's like James Harden back in Houston again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most everything you said, Micah. I think, obviously the talent here is better than what Dallas has, and I am 100% a supporter of Trae. Like I respect Luka's game. I respect it tremendously. I think that was the Luka versus the Clippers show. Tim Hardaway is, let's be honest, we know what he is. Should be a third or fourth option on a team. He should never be your second best player in a series ever, or you're just not going to win. Kristaps was so misused in Dallas. And there were several times I was like, why is Kristaps out at the three? He lived outside at the three, but he was just running.
He lived there, yeah. In the corner.
Like the corner and the deep wing. That's where he lived. And it just didn't make sense to me. And I was like, well, Kristaps, you're being soft. And I was like, wait, no, this is the play they're running. This is where Kristaps is supposed to be. So Rick Carlisle was putting him out there. And Kristaps in the paint, if used appropriately, he has an unstoppable hook shot. And his fadeaway game is really, really, really good. I think as soon as Kristaps gets out of there, he's, if used appropriately, he's going to be someone that could really show out again. Because, he's a nimble 7'3" post player who can also stretch the floor a little bit. And then he can also be a really good paint protector. But you got to use him right. And I think a lot of that is because, and this is touching on what you said about Capella, Micah, Trae, when he drives the lane, it's drive and float or drive and dish for the oop or run through the paint and get out of there. When Luka drives the paint, it's go look for my shot, try and get that lane. Oh, if it's not there, he's big enough he can then go into a post game and work his post game there. And you can't have a guy like Capella or Kristaps diving down to the paint and crowding that for him. So I think the offense is designed completely different, and you can't, that team needs to be built differently for Kristaps to win. And having a 7'3" guy who shoots 31% from three is not the answer. It's just not. That team is very poorly built. So,
Luka.
Yeah, for Luka.
You said Kristaps to win here.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things both of you said, and I think, Kristaps. That's why he came out and he complained as soon as the season ended because he felt he wasn't being utilized right. Because you're right, they don't feature him in the post at all. And when we were calling him the unicorn in New York, he was working out of the post. Even though he could do all this stuff shoot the threes and he could cross people and he could do the KD stuff, but he was primarily a post player. And with Luka as really playing a point forward, because like you said, his post game is so good. He always just works his way down elbow and he's always looking to drive and shoot. And then passing is really the third option for Luka. Whereas Trae, I honestly think passing is the first option. And then it's okay, floater. and then it's everything else sort of falls into place. So I don't know why they couldn't. I think maybe like they need to like maybe get rid of Chris. Maybe I think Portland could use Kristaps, and then they could use CJ. Like, because CJ's used to playing off the ball in that kind of style where he doesn't get a lot of touches necessarily. It's like you, me, you, me, you, me. Whereas Kristaps needs to be featured, more in Dame, and I think Dame and Kristaps. And then I think Portland, just speaking to them, they need to get Kristaps, get Jimmy Butler, and I think that team could compete. But, obviously it's constituted they could.
Kristaps needs to be used like Sabonis.
So
right, exactly.
So what? CJ and Nurkic for Kristaps?
Yeah, maybe.
Pick probably.
Yeah, get Nurkic out of there. That dude owned deep. I'll tell you, what's his name is like Debo to Portland.
Jokic.
Yeah, he's like Debo to Portland. Yeah. It's just I'm taking your lunch. I'm taking your cookies. Your juice box is mine.
The only problem with putting Nurkic in is that they would need to go find another big, because their problem is already that they don't have a big, unless they're relying on Zach Collins. But
they got Boban.
Oh yeah, Boban Marjanovic,
who runs like Slender Man.
Right, he has little stretches where he just goes off, but then he quickly gets, they quickly figure it out. But yeah, I agree with y'all that I don't necessarily know if the team's built incorrectly, but obviously they need different parts around Luka if he's going to continue to play like that. Like, if he's not willing to feature anybody else but himself in the offense, they need to get players who fit better in with that.
You need to build.
Because Tim Hardaway is such a streaky guy. Yes, Tim Hardaway is just such a streaky guy that you can't just on any given night ask him, okay, give me 20 tonight. It's like you need to
right.
You need to instill that confidence in him.
You need to build a team like you would build a LeBron team around Luka, because they play. I mean, their game is almost identical.
Very similar. Yeah.
So, except
the LeBron centric offense.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, that's how you.
Except Luka can hit mid range jumpers, so he's a better closer.
Much better 3-point shooter.
So I agree. His stats for that series were outrageous. He was like shooting like near 50%, like 42% from the 3-point line. It was ridiculous. So moving on. Just talking about the Clippers real quick. There last night they had a perfect opportunity to take down the number 1 seed. They were up for most of the game. But then, Utah got their shit together and eventually were able to get back the lead. And it pretty much came down to, and by the way, Mike Conley wasn't playing. That's why it was so important for the Clippers to win this game. But it came down to, Paul George. They started chanting overrated. So he hit 2 free throws. Then he hit a clutch 3 that got him within 3. They got the ball back, and then all calamity ensued because they brought it up. I think Reggie Jackson brought it up. He gave it to Paul George. Paul George quickly passed it to Kawhi, who then tried to do a move, blah, 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 and then quickly passed it in the corner to Marcus Morris, guarded by Gobert, who, by the way, won Defensive Player this year again. He passed it in the corner, and Marcus tried to pump fake, got caught again, then tried to put up something. It was like an air ball. But they choked because Kawhi had terrible basketball to pass it into the corner with a guy guarded by the longest player on the court. And PG shouldn't have given it up so quick after just hitting a clutch 3. So my question is for y'all is, can the Clippers overcome the bad coaching of T. Lue and somehow make it to the next round?
Nope.
Because Utah has probably the best coach left in these playoffs.
Monty Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Williams.
I mean, Utah's coach. You can't take away from Utah's
and
coach.
Nate McMillan.
Nate boy. Yeah. Nate dog.
But now, I'll be honest. I don't even necessarily. I don't know why Ty Lue got the job. It goes back to my Adam Gase comparison in the NFL. You were offensive coordinator for one of the smartest quarterbacks of all time, and somehow you got credit and they gave you jobs based off of being Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator. So Ty Lue was LeBron's coach for several years, and outside of that has not coached anybody else to anything of importance. Like once LeBron left Cleveland, they went to the cellar. They went below. Honestly, they went below the cellar. They were just trash, and he wound up losing his job too. So, like, what makes you think that he was going to coach this Clippers team out? But I mean, ultimately, I think the most telling thing is they don't have, while they have great players, they don't have a true leader. Someone who is like, look, I got, and this is the moment I want to take over. It's almost it was like, when the Hawks played the Knicks in game 1 down the stretch.
Right.
Everybody just deferred to either Julius Randle or Derrick Rose. It's like nobody wanted to take a shot other than, no, hot potato, get out my hands. I don't want it. So, Kawhi, as great of a player as Kawhi is, he's not a leader.
Right.
Nobody ever thought Paul George was a leader. Nobody ever accused him of being a leader. So, I mean, now I'm surprised Reggie Jackson, as much as he be throwing the ball up, I'm surprised he didn't just try and fire a shot up. Just, I'll take it. And like Marcus Morris is a role player. He knows he's a role player, and that's all he's ever wanted to be. So why in a crucial situation would you give the ball to a role player?
If he were wide open, I'd say, okay, good pass, Kawhi. But he was literally like Rudy Gobert was in second.
I don't even care if it was Rudy Gobert. It didn't have to be Rudy Gobert. If Spider was guarding him in that situation at the 3-point line, if he's guarded, why are you giving it to a role player, a guarded role player in the corner in that situation? Like you said, if he's butt naked, then open, then it makes sense. But it's like, I don't want to take this shot. Like, bruh, did you lose all your, like Kawhi, did you lose all your confidence after missing that shot in game 5? That bunny that you got, that Terrence Mann set you up for because he didn't want to take the shot? So did you lose all your confidence after that? I mean, I don't know. It frustrates me. It's like, bruh, as much money and picks that went into building that team, you would think somebody would step up in a big moment, and that definitely didn't happen.
2 things. Kyle Lowry was the leader of that Raptors team, and I think like I think he was the heart and soul of that team. He drove that team, and Kawhi was just the best player. 2, Utah plays a style of basketball that is made to beat teams like the Clippers. They move the ball so well and so much that they're just going to literally wear the Clippers down. Now, there's going to be some games where the Clippers' talent will just take over and win them. They'll probably get 2 games in this series, would be my guess. But Utah is built in a way, and now that Mitchell is like a bucket in the playoffs, like he is their best player, and like when they need him to step up, he does. It takes them a step further. Like they play perfect basketball. They're that team that showed up to AAU tournaments. They were the all-white team that would show up to AAU tournaments. Like, who's this? And then they go pass, 3, pass 3, and you're like, hold on, what? Do these kids miss?
They're well coached.
Right, yeah, exactly. And they play perfect defense. They're never out of position, and you just have to work for everything against them. That's just what they do, and that's the style. I think when they accepted that identity this year, where they were like, look, we're not the most talented team out here, but we've got enough talent and we're good enough on defense to where if we don't make mistakes, we can win a lot of games. And when we do need a bucket, we've got a guy over here who can get us one most of the time. But also
Baby
just
Wade.
just through, ball movement, we're going to find the open shot. And we got guys who can knock it down. So, I mean, I think they're the anti-Clippers. Like they rely on teamwork and basketball plays rather than just, we've got really good guys and big names.
And you know who should take most of that credit?
Oh, yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal.
And that was the point where they accepted it. You're right.
Yeah.
I totally agree, though. It's like the Clippers, it's just like the reason I put this more on Tyler than Paul George or Kawhi, because obviously we know Paul George is a little mentally, I don't want to call him fragile, but a little just mentally unstable. Kawhi, I mean, he's going to look for his shot, but he doesn't, he's not going to be the initiator of anything, amazing. But the thing is that you have the two unguardable guys in Kawhi and Paul George, and you can't come up with a play to get one of those two open.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, what was that? Like, what? It's like a pin down. Give me something. Like, Paul George just hit a clutch three. You can't draw up something to get this dude open again. It's like, and that's why, I don't know. I think that the Utah not having Mike Conley is going to be big in terms of the fact that the Clippers could probably push us all the way to 7. But I see these teams as even because the Clippers should win the perimeter defense matchup, but then the Jazz should win the interior matchup. And the Clippers aren't that good of a shooting team unless Luke Kennard's out there, dropping bombs. Like, unless he's going to play great every game.
There's always that one guy in the playoffs that does that too, that like comes out like Luke Kennard's been a good shooter, but never been like this. But then like this postseason, he's like, watch this, guys.
Bruh, but I will say this. The thing that intrigues me about the Clippers is the only real player see on their team with like true leadership skills is Rondo.
And he's been so bad.
But yeah, he's been bad, but he's the only one who has any kind of leadership skills. And like, after that game five miss, he asked Kawhi, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, and Kawhi definitely turned it after that. I'll give Kawhi credit. Like he put in 2 amazing games after that, where it's like, okay, you willed your team past Dallas. So,
But I mean, at the same time, he's put the least amount of time in on this roster. All these guys have played together for at least a year or two. Rondo's been there for a few months, and it's like he's the only one who's not afraid to call out one of these dudes when they do something stupid. That's
right. So quickly, who y'all got in this series? Brian, you said Utah in 6.
Yeah. I said the Clippers make it to the Western Conference Finals, but I don't trust them. So I'm gonna say Utah in 7.
Yeah, I gotta say Utah in 7 too. I've seen way too much. I feel like Clippers are always chasing everybody that they're playing. It's like they never show dominance. They're never just like leading wire to wire. And yeah, I don't trust them.
Well, they don't show any kind of urgency until their backs are against the wall, and then all of a sudden it's
right.
Oh God, we got to turn it up. It's like, hey, bro.
So they're down 3-1.
Yeah, you can get away. You can get away with that most of the time, but when you're playing a team I won't even say it's talented, but as very sound as the Jazz are.
They're like the Detroit Pistons.
It's going to be hard for you to beat them.
And just real quick,
all right,
Jordan Clarkson's a bucket now.
Oh yeah, him too. That he's a big part of that team. Like, man, they definitely need Mike Conley back though if they really want to make it to the finals. But moving on, next series, Phoenix looked hella dominant in Game 1, with them pretty much doing what they did in the last round with Booker and Ayton attacking and CP3 dealing and sealing. So they're playing right now. I don't know the score. I'm gonna turn it on after we're done here. But who y'all got in that series?
Phoenix.
Yeah, go for it.
Phoenix in 5.
I'm gonna go Suns in. I'm gonna go Suns in 4. They're sweeping them. Like
I say Suns in 6.
the level that Phoenix's offense is running at right now, and like now that I really see what they're doing, like they're running the same play, the same concept for a play, a pick and roll over and over again, but with 5 variances to it. That no matter what you do to adjust to it, they have somebody open.
It sounds a little bit like the triangle, like a modified triangle.
Kinda. It's like throwing the triangle on wheels and moving it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wow. And they are executing it flawlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Monty, we got you, bro. Phoenix to the conference finals unanimously.
Nah, I think I would give Denver a chance if Jamal Murray was playing.
Mm-hmm.
But since with just Jokic and you got Campazzo and Monty
Morris.
What's his last name? Monty Morris, yeah, playing as running a point. They're not yeah, but I mean even healthy, they're not consistent enough of scorers to be able to match the offensive firepower that Phoenix is capable of doing. So, like I said, I think they might steal the game, but other than that, I don't see them really competing in the series.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as I said going into it, I don't know if I said this to y'all or someone else, but I mean, no one on Denver can guard Devin Booker besides Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon does a decent job guarding whoever he put him on, but no one can consistently guard Devin Booker. Jokic is, I don't care what anybody says. I hear a lot of people shitting on Ayton because of what he's looked like in the past, but in this playoffs, he's proven he's here to stay. Like he's done the same thing in every single game against a team in LA who was supposed to be able to make him look like a little bitch, but he made them look like little bitches. So, I mean, Jokic doesn't play defense. So if Ayton continues to get do whatever he can to sort of equal Jokic, I don't think Denver has a legitimate shot.
Well, that's
without a player like Jamal Murray.
I mean, that's an advantage though. Ayton is so much more athletic than just about every other big in the West. Well, not necessarily in the West, but in the playoffs right now. Now, I think Gobert is long enough and athletic enough he might be able to match him, but the Lakers bigs are all slow. They're older and slower, and then Jokic moves. Jokic is like a sloth on the court, but he's really good. Like he legit everything is in slow motion, but he's really good.
You just can't offer anything at all on the other end, on the defensive end of the court.
Yeah.
Except for steals here and there, but
yeah.
So moving on, the Brooklyn Nets. They're pretty. I mean, this has been lopsided as hell, to be quite honest. Can the Bucks find a way to make things competitive? Will Drew get on that yellow brick road and find his lion heart? But try to attack, make Kyrie play some kind of defense. Will they find Chris Middleton, who's actually missing? He's been missing for the last 2 games. Or is this a sweep? Is this as bad as it looks so far? They lost by 40 in the last game. What do y'all see for the rest of this series?
I'm going sweep, man. Brooklyn is now piecing it all together, and it's like, I don't know who can.
They don't even have James Harden. They beat him by 40.
Right.
It's like,
bruh, I told one of my coworkers, like, man, this is gonna be a good series. No, I said, I like, going into the playoffs. I was talking to some of my coworkers about it, and I said, as a Hawks fan, there's only one team in the East that I'm truly afraid of, and I said, if Harden's healthy, I do not want to see Brooklyn, because with Harden and everybody else on that team, you can't outscore them. You cannot. We could put up 140 and they'll still put up 155 against us. So it's just like you can't match them. What can you do? Even if Drew does what he's supposed to do and holds Kyrie to 18. They can what's the name stop?
It's not even about holding. It's not even about holding Kyrie to 18. It's like if you're gonna give Kyrie 27, give me 18.
Well,
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
18.
But I'm saying, like, even if he puts in the defensive, all right, say he holds Kyrie to 18 and puts up 15. All right, can Giannis?
Then that's a good night. I feel like Milwaukee has a chance. But
can Giannis hold KD under 30? That ain't happening.
No, but he can go for 40.
Can anybody else? Can anybody else in that? Like Blake Griffin, the man who didn't dunk for 2 years.
Posterized Giannis.
He is coming. Like, I saw him catch a ball off. It was a missed shot. He comes out of nowhere, flying over everybody, like he's on a trampoline, and just, like, bro, where do these ups come? You ain't used these ups in 2 years. Were you just saving them?
Yeah.
It's called selective jumping.
He's like, I'm saving my knees.
He's been working with knees over toes guy all of a sudden. And Bunny's out the gym. I ain't used these in 2 years, man.
Man, I'm telling you.
He became like a 40-year-old player that doesn't jump anymore, just takes jump shots for like a year.
Real quick, I think it can't be understated on how important of a signing Mike James was, though, for that Brooklyn team. Like, when they signed him out of Europe, it was like, how did they get him? Like, out of all teams, like, Mike James is. Right. If people who are listening and watching have never watched Mike James play, look at his EuroLeague highlights, and he is a baller. Like, he's
Kyrie light.
Yeah, honestly, but he's just more like, he's got more of that European, like, slitheriness to him. Like Kyrie's very slippery, but it's like EuroLeague players do things like unorthodox that you don't see here because they're typically not as athletic as their U.S. counterparts, and so they do things strangely, and you're like, why would you put that shot up? But they get so good at doing it that it becomes a good shot for him. So
yeah, I mean, he reminds me of. Oh, it doesn't remind me of, but he's a good filler for what Dinwiddie would have brought for them if he had managed to stay healthy.
Yeah, I can see that.
A very good approximation of what Dinwiddie would have been providing. Yeah. So y'all both got Nets, I'm assuming.
I think the Bucks will get one. If Giannis can turn back the clock on when he used to guard KD when he was on the Warriors, and find that again, then it could easily go 7. But if Harden comes back, I mean, it's a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
Harden's not coming back for this year, but
he's like,
it was funny though. They said another one of those things leaked that it was like, I guess KD, who they said he was talking to.
Oh,
I forget who the person was who was quoting this, and he was like, "Oh, it was Jason Williams." And he was like, one time he compared KD to Giannis, and KD was like, "Don't ever compare me to that dude." like pretty much calling Giannis trash. And then KD got all up in his comments like, "Oh, never happened. You're making that up." Like, KD, I think you did say some of these things. Like, not everybody just makes up every conversation they ever had with you. It's like
it's plausible deniability. You can't prove it. I can always just deny.
Just own up.
We got it on
own
tape.
Own up to some of your trash talk.
We got it on tape. It was doctored footage.
Wasn't me.
We did. Oh, that's just while we're here. We can just throw this in here for fun. But another KD related thing where he has plausible deniability. Porn star Lana Rhoades was recently on a podcast, and I guess a podcast she has with two other pretty girls, and they just talk about girl stuff. And she was pretty much saying that she was trying to figure out why guys always bring extra girls on dates with them. Like that was her whole line of reasoning for bringing this up. And she was basically explaining the situation where she went to a game, and after the game, she went on a date with a player, and the player told her before the date that he was going to bring his fuck buddy with them, his fuck buddy for the last year. He's going to bring,
just in case she wasn't down.
Nah, yeah. you left out the most important part. She already told him there was no smashing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he said right.
That's when he was like, yeah, no, all right.
But then she printed, but she didn't directly say it was him. But then she said it was the dude from Barstool, I guess, did the science and broke it down. I thought that was a little weird that he cared that much, but he broke it down and went, because she said that it was a Libra, and then she went and looked down the list and saw that KD. No, he messed up. He in the comments. If you look at the comments, he was like, "Oh, my bad. Katie is a Libra, not a Virgo." But I watched the podcast.
She said he was a Virgo.
No. She said Libra. Oh, I watched the podcast.
And then it's definitely Katie then, yeah.
Yeah. And but then right after that, she went on and said that she's like, I hate Libras. She's like, I hate all Libras. They're also, because she basically said that she would ask him a whole bunch of questions like, what do you like? What do you do? But he was like, I don't like anything. I don't do anything. I don't.
Man, who do we know like that?
I'm not like that. What are you talking about? I'm very interesting.
Sometimes you can be a little. Marco, what do you like, man?
This is not about me.
It's about Libras.
This is not about me, Ryan. This is not a Libra shit test. Okay. I'm more Scorpio than Libra anyway. So, moving on. That was just funny that KD is always having to deny stuff. It's like, bro, just be who you are. And I see KD on the court, like he's gotten a lot more like meaner than he used to be with the Golden State Warriors. Like when he played Jason Tatum, he was like pushing him, poking him in the eye. And he does a lot of things now where it's like he like pushes, bumps people, does a lot of like sort of dirty things. And I'm like, when did KD turn into a villain?
He's trying to embrace that villain role, but he's too sensitive. He's too sensitive to truly embrace it.
Right. He'll just deny it. If you ever bring it up, he'll be like, that's lies. It wasn't me. You know what you're talking about. So moving on to what we all really want to talk about. The Hawks, the most important series in this playoffs that is left. So basically, like we said earlier, we beat the Knicks team, shocked the world, even though it wasn't a shock to us because we knew we had a better team. But it was very fulfilling to shut up that Knicks crowd. Extremely fulfilling. So then we went into that Philly game, the underdogs, but with the air of suspicion that, okay, maybe Joel Embiid won't play. That was all cap. It was all lies. Philly they were just trying to psychologically play with us. And Doc Rivers is known to do stuff like this, where he likes to put uncertainty in the mind of the other team about who's playing, who's not. But Joel Embiid's not hurt. Like, I don't care what anybody says. And when he fell on his back and he was holding his back and they suddenly said it was his knee, I was suspicious of that anyway. And I'm sure maybe something did happen, but not enough to stop him from dropping 40 a night. So, but just to sum up the games, game one, we were, incredible. Trey got on that stage and continued to impress the world with his high level of play. They can't stop him, couldn't stay in front of him, dishing everywhere. We're hitting all of our threes. Kevin Huerter has been amazing this whole entire playoff run. He's probably been, besides Trey, our most consistent player. Bogey hit big shots. And we won. But it's important to say they walked us down. At the end of that game, we had a very embarrassing stretch where I think we should have employed the hack-a-ben, but we didn't. And we maybe because Nate didn't have faith in us getting those rebounds. That's my reason for why we probably didn't do that. But anyway, they started trapping. We couldn't figure it out. Trey turned it over. Bo turned it over. Kevin Huerter's made one turnover, but then he also saved the game on another play. So it was rough. But anyway, that carried over into the next game. Game 2 started. They were shellacking us. I think we got down 8-23. But by halftime, we were right back in it. But then Shake Milton was unleashed from the bench, in which I don't think he's played this whole entire playoff series, even though we all know he's good. So I don't know. Maybe this is a strategy by Doc Rivers to put some fire under his ass. But he came in, hit like 5 threes, or four out of 5 from the 3-point land. One that was at the end of the third quarter that really hurt.
That was the backbreaker.
That was the backbreaker. And that was all of that happened right when Trey went to the bench. And they went on like a 14-point run, and it was over. Once Trey came back in the game, there was nothing to salvage. But I want to give a lot of credit to the Sixers. They adjusted. They put a Ben Simmons on Trey. I think he had like 6 turnovers in the first half. They completely made him inefficient, neutralized our offense. And then besides that, we weren't hitting open shots. At least everybody but Danilo and Herter wasn't hitting open shots. Trey was 1 for 7. He hit the most impossible 3 out of all of them. Just, talk a little. And then, to make matters worse, we find out DeAndre Hunter is done for the rest of the postseason, which is crazy because he looked so good in the Knicks series. Like, what happened? And Cam is in 3-on-3. Just if you care, if anyone cares out there, Cam has been running 3-on-3. So I doubt we'll see him, but maybe if this goes 7, we might see Cam. So just Ryan, give me some takes.
I think for the most part, we can still win this series. Embiid's gonna get his. That's what it's gonna be. Embiid's gonna get his 30 to 40. We can't stop him down there. Capella is 3 inches shorter and 40 pounds lighter than him. And that's not what Capella's there for. Capella's a weak side defender. Yeah, Capella's a weak side defender type of guy. He's not a post lockdown type of guy. It's because you don't run into these type of centers that very often in the NBA anymore. So, you're going to have to live with Embiid getting his. You throw a couple double teams at him to try and make life a little harder, and so he doesn't go for 50 or 60. But you have to stop the second and third best player on that team. And right now that's Tobias Harris. And
Tobias.
I don't really.
We let him go downhill so much.
Man, I'm telling you. And I guess Ben Simmons.
Seth Curry hit some open shots too.
Yeah, but I think slowing down Ben Simmons and as far as his distribution goes is probably a little more important than stopping,
he only had 4 points and 3 assists. He only had 4 points and 3 assists last night.
Yeah, but he got some of those passes off to open guys to where it was just like momentum shifting every time. We'd get on a run, and here he would come charging down court and boom, hit the open guy. And it was just it was almost like what we would do to them in game 1 when they kept trying to make a comeback. We would, hit that open shot. It wasn't, like a huge hard shot, but it was just in the nick of time. And that's what he was doing to us a lot. We got to find a way to get him off of Trey as well, because he's just, that bully ball that people are trying to play on him. So I think we'll win. I think if we would have had Hunter, this would have been, a fairly easy series for us, because Hunter gives us such versatility. But even though you kind of, we got to hope Cam comes back if we want to win, because Cam's going to play Hunter light. Secondary ball player, shooter, and defender. We need someone who can switch on those wings and play good wing defense for us and get some.
I'm just wondering if we couldn't rely on Cam in the regular season, what makes people think we're going to be able to rely on him in the postseason?
I don't think we're going to rely on him, but I think, coming in now, knowing what our roles are, Cam can slide into that fourth best player and be consistent there.
The Solomon Hill role.
Yeah, we were trying to push him as a second or third best guy on the team, and it's just not what he is right now. He's not ready. But if you take that pressure off of him and be like, all right, Cam, this is your role. You're a role player right now. Be an elite role player, please. That's what we need to use him for.
Be a defender, and if you get an open shot, knock it down.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. Um, game one, I think game one, the only reason they walked us down is because like Jalen Rose said, the rest put their whistles in their pocket. They were so physical. I mean, they were wrapping players up and stuff like that on those traps, and they weren't calling anything like that. That one where Bogey they ripped the ball out of Bogey's hands, and then essentially, was it Danny Green like basically grabbed him and pulled him off the ball, and it's like, yo, come on now. Granted, did they?
Well, Bogey could have handled that a little better though.
Yeah,
Bogey could have definitely handled that.
He could have. The strip was clean, but the fact that, like I said, they pulled him away from the ball. Like, yo, come on, that's a foul. Like, I get it. I get it. You don't want to be the judging factor in the game, but they're coming back off just based off the fact that you're not calling anything. Then game two, even though Shake Milton was the difference in the game, because even though as terrible as we started to make a comeback, and what we did was we utilized that athletic advantage that we had against them, and we were running. And it was just like, all right, because you can trust Trey can see the court. He's a smart passer and whatnot. Like, there were so many times they'd score, they wouldn't get down court fast enough, and then bam, quick pass out, get an open shot.
Pass was beating the defense. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that could be a big thing for us moving forward. I do think, now granted, where I differ from Nate McMillan was after Joel Embiid got that first tech, which I don't think Bogey should have gotten a tech at all. Bogey stands up and you give him he kind of put his shoulder. No, he John Collins helped him up. And as he's standing up, he accidentally hit Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid flipped out. Okay,
I think the retaliation was on before that. Well, he was retaliating for something that happened before that a little bit, but it wasn't. Still, Joel should have been ejected. Let's be real.
Well, but even my thing is, even if they didn't eject him that play, if I'm Nate McMillan, my goal is I would put Bruno Fernando in the game and be like, look, I want you in his head. Be as cool as you can. You have 6 fouls. I want you to piss him off. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. If you can piss him off to the point where he's willing to push you or swing at you, then you've done your job. But because I mean, you're not gonna get in the game any other way. So this is what I need you to do. I need you to get in his head. Take him out of his game. If like I said, this is an old school tactic the team used to use all the time. They take a guy buried on the bench and be like, hey, this dude's got one tech. I need him out of the game. Not necessarily dive at his leg, but I need you to be physical. Dennis Rodman used to do it. He used to get into players he was guarding head and make them do something stupid. Because Joel Embiid,
personal challenge.
Joel Embiid is emotional enough where he might do something stupid like that. So, I said, that would have been my goal. Get him out of game 2, and it could have changed the whole outcome of the game. But
you saw Danilo trying to talk a little trash with Embiid. He said, he's like, next time you try to guard me, I'm going right by you. You can't stop. I was like, wow, Danilo, okay.
But not. I mean, like I said, I would have done it with a player that we didn't need. Like I said,
if only we had J.R. Smith on our team, and he could pretend to slide into his knee. That was
Dellavedova. That was Dellavedova.
No, I'm talking about when he slid into Andrew Bogut's knee on accident, quote him. Yeah. Or when he tried to take out. Remember when he tried to take out Clay, but Clay came back. J.R. Stay tried to take out people.
Ultimately, Shake Milton was the difference in that game. When Trey came out and then he just went off for that 3-minute stretch, that pretty much kind of killed us that game. But I don't expect Shake Milton to be that hot every game. I don't expect us to shoot that poorly every game because I mean, like you said, we missed a ton of open looks. We're getting open looks. We just got to knock them down.
Bogey could have had 30 easily.
And I'm like, if
both him and Trey can't be 6 for 16.
Yeah, if we're not, if we shoot, if they're both 9, if they're 9 for 16, 10 for 16, then it's a completely different ball game. So that's my thing. I feel like we'll win this series because as like you said, as bad as the final score, that 16 point loss was, I saw so many things that we just, like I said, just sheer athleticism. They can't run with us. All right. And you can keep putting Ben Simmons on Trey. I would stop doing the pick and roll. Just be like, Trey, take him off the dribble. He cannot run with you. Or Steve Nash it. Just run circles around the paint and until something pops open. Wear him out on the defensive end, and it's going to hurt him on the offensive end. And then down the stretch, if it's a close game, foul the mess out of Ben Simmons.
Right, but then you got to secure the boards because
yeah. Well, but I mean, and that's another thing. Embiid's head. I'm getting in Embiid's head because the only person who can beat Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. Yeah. That's the only person that can stop Joel Embiid.
So I'll say Trey. I feel like Trey. The length got into Trey's head. That length that we talked about a while back when we were first breaking down what team we didn't want to see in the playoffs, and I was like the Sixers. That length got into his head to the point where when he drove and had that open floater, or sometimes he would drive. Like there was one play where he drove and he could have went off the right hand, but he tried to pull up on the floater and Thibault was behind him and blocked it because he saw Ben Simmons to the left. But it's like, so he's second guessing himself a little bit. And then I think it's almost like a double-edged sword because like when we first reviewed the series with the Knicks, we saw that Atlanta's pace is in the bottom half of the league. We're not a running team, but we need to pass quick to beat the defense before it gets set. But the problem is Philadelphia is a running team. They like running. They like Ben Simmons is really only effective when a team is running.
Get out and move.
Yeah, when they can get out and move, get out and do athletic shit quickly. So that's why this is such a good matchup for us. But, I'm sort of two things. It's like people had the nerve to talk about Trae Young all season. If you watch any of these bigs, the fouls that they get are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like they touch him with a little finger. Like, his hand goes up. It's like barely where hands are straight up. He tripped over his
Yeah, he tripped over his own foot and they call a foul on Capella.
Yeah, it's like it's ridiculous the calls that Embiid and any big. Remember when AD went to the line 23 times in that game? It's like bigs get so many calls that I don't even know how people get mad at Trey for going to the line 9 times a night. Like, but it is what it is. He's going to get those calls. We just have to, like you said, I don't think Shake's going to come out and have another 4 for 5 night. Seth Curry still is going to be hot. That's just what he does. Other than that, Tobias, I think if they kept on getting Trey on Tobias and he was able to get going because he's a front court player, honestly. And that's why the spacing for Philly as a team just isn't that good. Because he's a front court player, Ben Simmons is a front court player, and Embiid's a front court player. Those 3 players. But when he's on Trey, he just has line drive straight to the rim, and he's taking it all the way, and he's getting his confidence up. So we got to find a way. Deandre Hunter not being here is the only reason I'm not really confident in us in winning this series, because I think that their defense, the way Bogey has been shooting the playoffs, and then I mean, I don't know. And to me, I wanted to bring this up just for y'all's opinion on this, but to me, the only player on our team who really hasn't done anything in this playoffs to really win us a game or to really like be like, okay, what are you good at? Like, what are you contributing? Is John Collins. Like, he has not found a role in this playoff. I mean, he's played okay defense. Like, he played really good. He played really good defense against Julius Randle, but that was by committee. We were setting up walls on Julius Randle. So what do y'all think? Like, just give me like, what do y'all's take on John Collins so far? Especially, don't have to talk about the whole playoffs, but in this series, like what have y'all seen and what does he need to do? Like,
just be more consistent. Like, when you get open shots, you got to be more consistent about hitting them. And there were one or two times where I saw he had a window to shoot and he passed it up. It was just like, bruh, you got open shot, shoot it. If you miss, you miss. But you passing the ball up, when you get an open shot and you passing the ball up isn't necessarily going to create an open shot for somebody else. And that 24 the shot clock violation he had, where it's like, bruh,
yeah,
did you not know where the shot clock was and you still trying to force the ball into Capella? Like, bruh,
just shoot it,
man. Honestly, yeah. I think this has really proven why John Collins isn't a max player yet. He doesn't have that one-on-one game that Julius Randle developed. He's not there yet. And if he's not getting a post feed, a lob, or a kick out to the corner, John Collins really is not an elite scorer. And I think what's really being exposed here, or why he's being exposed here, I should say, is the fact that Philly has 4 guys that can defend him with ease, pretty much. Like, even their point guard, like Ben Simmons can go in the post with John Collins. They're the same size, and Ben Simmons is
no doubt, he's bigger,
a hellacious defender. You've also got Tobias Harris, who's doing an excellent job on John Collins. There's a couple times where I saw him try and post Tobias, and he was like,
yeah,
what is this? Like, that was a weak post move. Get off me. There's Joel in the post who can handle him. And honestly, even on the outside, like, Joel's quick enough that he can move his feet with him. And then there's Dwight Howard too.
Oh, my God, right.
All those guys can guard John Collins.
Even Thibault can guard John Collins.
Yeah, honestly, so 5. Like, this is a series that is set up for someone with John Collins deficiencies. He's going to struggle. So I think, the Sixers are saying, look, hey, this man ain't a max player. Get him out of here. So I think it's doing us a favor, but he may say, well, you didn't use me right, but we're trying, man. We're trying.
Well, like you said, they've given him ops. He's touching the ball. He's just not able to do anything with it when he gets it, because they have so much length, and he just looks really small out there.
Like, bro,
against this team,
he's not even, like some of the other guys, like some of the role players. Yeah, your corner 3 is your shot, but pump fake. If they close out, pump fake, one dribble, take a shot. He can't even do that. It's just if you don't basically feed him and set him up for his own shot, he get his own shot. That's the point.
Right. And the thing that was in common with this game and the game 2 in the last series is John Collins fouled out. You gotta, and I mean, obviously he was one of the worst players for fouling this year in the NBA. So, I mean, it's not like unbelievable that he's fouling out like that, but he's going to have to do a lot better, keeping his hands up. But honestly, like he got most of those little ticky-tack fouls on Embiid. Like he couldn't even try. They were blowing the whistle.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that
so I don't know.
We got, if we need fouls, Chris Dunn is your man. He is on that bench. Chris Dunn will foul. We know Chris Dunn will foul.
I know he doesn't even put him in there a little bit. But yeah, honestly, I don't like the way that we responded to Shake getting so hot. Like, defend him. He was wide open.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But that was another part of my frustration with Lou. because
Yeah, it was Lou's assignment.
boy, Lou was killing. Like, all right, Shake would hit a three, Lou would come down on the other end, and I said he's like a lesser version of Jamal Crawford, where he gets the ball, he's looking to score 9 times out of 10, especially with that second unit in, and he did that same crap all the time. Pump fake kind of gets you in the air and then fade off to the side and like, bro, that's not a good shot.
Trademark.
Like that is not a high percentage shot. Like, bro, you need to look for better shots than that. As hot as Shake Milton got, like, bro, we needed better looks than the pump fake and just kind of shoot from the side thing. It's like, bro, like,
right, take it to the rim. But I mean, you saw every time the Hawks tried to take it all the way to the rim, it was complete catastrophe. It's like,
well, yeah.
People like Capella had the yips. Trey was, I mean, trying, but he couldn't. He got that 1-and-1, but didn't make the bet. He got the foul, but didn't make the bucket. But yeah, it was looking ugly under the rim. It was like war.
I think Collins be eating too much popcorn because, bro, he can't catch the ball in the post to save it.
That's a sign though of being out muscled in the paint. He can't get a base below him to catch it cleanly.
Like, bro, ugh.
Yeah,
who's gonna fill?
That's true. And continually.
Yeah. Quick question for you, Marco. Who's gonna fill? Like, if Reddish doesn't, come back, can we use a Kongwu in? Obviously not in the offensive threat that
as a perimeter defender,
just a versatile defender, not so much as a perimeter defender.
I thought Tony Snell was more that. I figured Tony Snell might be used more in that kind of role. He got his lip busted trying to play some defense, but I figured more him than Okongwu. Okongwu isn't a versatile enough defender. He's barely a good post defender. So yeah, I mean, maybe Tony Snell, because I think he shoots better than Solomon, even though Solomon plays a little bit better defense. Yeah. So
we're gonna
maybe
piece
him
together a couple players to replace Hunter.
Yeah,
like the Power Rangers Zords. Solomon's defense, Tony Snell shooting.
All right, but I definitely think Tony Snell's probably going to get more minutes going forward, especially because he took one for the team. But yeah, I mean, so y'all both say Hawks in what?
I say 6.
Man, losing Hunter makes me lean the other way. Honestly, I don't think we can beat him without Hunter. I'm gonna say Sixers in 6 or 7. 7.
I think what Sixers in 6. Sorry, Hawks. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'd love to be.
Prove me wrong, Hawks, because they adjusted so well.
Solomon Hill's gonna go off for 25.
I'm just saying, I'll be happy. All right, I'll be happy with one more win in this series. That would be, obviously we want to win the whole championship, right? But from this season, I'd be satisfied with going 6 with a team that's the number 1 seed in the East. But hopefully we win. But yeah, prove me wrong, Hawks. Let's go. All right, so that's pretty much it for the layup, a.k.a. the finger roll, a.k.a. jelly time, a.k.a. points in the paint. Take it away, Micah.
Hey, everybody. It's the Suicide Squeeze. So, all right, so first things first. So, MLB is looking into some rule enforcement after the Yankees pitcher Garrett Cole was asked if he ever used spider tack or any illegal substance to get an advantage as a pitcher, and he doesn't really answer the question. He was just like,
"What's
he
that?"
Was like, I don't.
High pitched.
Well, he was like, I don't know, I don't. And then finally, he just says, I don't really know how to answer that. And
right.
So that non-committal answer. So the MLB will finally now they've had rules against illegal pitchers using illegal substances for years, but it hasn't been something that's been strongly enforced unless it was just obvious. Like, you see a pool of Vaseline under the pitcher's cap season, or, what was it? Like Major League, he had Vagisil on his shoulder to give him extra spin on his extra break on his curveball. So yeah, they haven't really enforced it. But so what they're going to start doing is, they said they're 2 months into the season now. They kind of watch the players and their patterns, and said they plan on informing the umpires and giving them a list of players to potentially watch out for, that they might suspect to be that potentially might be doing, like, because they talked about Garrett Cole between 2017 to 2019. The amount of rotation on his fastball went up like almost like 200 rotations per like
sports science is crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, they do. So they're talking about that. So hopefully none of our pitchers make that list, because unfortunately I don't think we can afford to lose. Well, Drew Smiley, if he gets caught, Luke Jackson.
I can tell you
Apparently,
who's not on it.
the seams.
Will Smith.
Yeah. God, no. What'd you say, Marco?
But apparently, the seams of the new baseball make it easier for them to cheat.
They raised them a little bit. So yeah, because they talked about they're juicing the balls a little bit, but whatever. But yeah, they hopefully, like I said, hopefully nobody important makes that list. Now into Braves news. So Braves won last night 9-5 due to great hitting performances by Ronald Acuna, who hit his 18th home run last night, Austin Riley, who hit his 11th home run last night, and Wilson Contreras, who hit his 6th home run last night. They each, I think Acuna went 3 for 5. I think Riley went 3 for 5. Acuna might have went 4 for 5. Riley went 3 for 5, and then Contreras went 3 for 4 last night. So they hit the cover off the ball. And on the negative side, Drew Smiley only lasted 4 1/3 innings, had 0 strikeouts, and is winless in his last 4 starts, giving up a combined 16 runs, 15 of those earned. And in a stretch where he's thrown 17 strikeouts to 7 walks. So should we so my question to you guys is, should we try to go in a different direction for a reliable starting pitcher and just get out of that?
Yeah. Smiley is such a bum. Such a bum.
Like, bro, at this point I'll be like, Hey, Tom Glavine, since you're in the booth, do you have anything left in your arm?
I mean, honestly,
I think the Braves are leading the league, I think, and I forget exactly what the stat was, but in terms of from the 7th inning on, we're like the worst team in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Which is the complete opposite of what we were last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, by
the way, we did not make it to 500.
I thought we hit it yesterday after the win.
We hit 500. We did not make a winning record.
Oh yeah. No. So yeah, that was bringing me to the stat. So the Braves hit 500 for the 5th time this season. Yet they have not been a single game above 500 yet. So
we got Phillies, Marlins. Maybe I think we have an opportunity.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're so banged up there, like pitching staff wise. Enola won't be back until August, they're saying. They also said what's the catcher?
Our starting catcher?
I can't think of his name. Yeah.
Darno.
Yeah, Darno, yeah. Travis Darno should be back in August as well. So, I mean, if we can hold off until August, then we should be fine. But, that's still a long way away. So, but outside of that, that is all the baseball news I got. So that concludes the Suicide Squeeze.
You're out of here.
Anybody got a lightning round question? I don't either. I couldn't think of one today.
What is your favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Yeah, probably broccoli.
Prepared how?
All forms.
It's like sauteed, or steamed.
Yeah, steamed, sauteed.
I prefer it raw. Raw, just dipped in ranch.
Oh, okay.
Ranch.
Brock and cheese. I gotta go with Brussels sprouts.
Ooh,
that's my favorite, especially some roasted Brussels sprouts, a little Parmesan and bacon.
Yeah.
Nah, I had it was when I was working at the restaurant, one of the chefs cooked fried Brussels sprouts, and he served them with the sweet chili sauce. Those were.
So they had that at the when we went. Where did we go for? Whose birthday was that, Ryan? We went somewhere, and they had some flash fried Brussels sprouts with some chili sauce.
Was that my birthday?
At the we were at some place where they did the Japanese style cooking. I forget whose birthday.
Yeah. I don't remember whose birthday that is either, but I might have to swing your way and go with Brussels sprouts, especially this place right up the road from me called Dog Days. No, Lazy Dog. And they do a Brussels that's really good. There was another place we went not too long ago. They put like a white barbecue sauce on it. It was like a fried one. It was mixed in with it was when we went up to North Carolina to get my back cracked. They had it was mixed in with all types of stuff. They had like sunflower seeds and I think something else, and then white barbecue.
North Carolina. I thought it was South Carolina.
You're right. It was South Carolina.
Yeah, Greenville.
But yeah,
Green Bowl.
There, wherever that was, that was really good. So yeah, I might have to go Brussels too. Good call.
Yep.
Real quick before we get out of here, here's an update on Marcus Flowers. He just got back to me and said, "We apologize for the delayed response. The campaign picked up a lot, and our schedule has gotten full pretty quickly. When things slow down, we will try and circle back. Thanks for the patience, support, and understanding." So he may or may not be on the show, but I'll keep trying. We have a couple other people on the horizon that we're working with here that we're going to try and get on the show.
So we reserve our support for Flowers until he's on our show. Yeah.
At least he got back to me because I thought he ghosted me. I was like, well, this is kind of whack. You're going to get my vote now. But we still got the athletic director of UGA coming up here in the near future. Marco needs to get off of the dial-up. Holy cow. And we got a couple other.
There's a storm going on.
Oh, there's a storm brewing. Well, yeah, we got a couple other people coming up, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you're watching this or listening.
Like, follow, subscribe. Wait. Like, comment, subscribe.
I'm sorry. Was that like, comment, subscribe, or subscribe, comment, like? What? Notificate? Wait, what?
I think it was comment, subscribe, like. Or subscribe, comment, like.
Or was it?
Hit bell.
Hit bell, like, subscribe, comment, subscribe, like.
I think it's all of that.
Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. That was episode 56. We are Fish and Grits, and we'll catch you next time. Go Hawks, Braves, Liberty Media. Please do something. Spend a little bit of money, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.
And if you like Fish and Grits and all that sports shit, everybody, let me hear you say, oh, yay. Oh, yay.